As the sun rises and the roosters crow, Yang Kai gets up, grabs his broom, and begins another day. He introduces himself in his thoughts, a disciple on trial of the Lingxiao Martial Arts Sect. He joined the sect 3 years ago, yet has only reached the 3rd phase of the tempered body. 3 years for just 3 phases, such progress cannot even be called average anymore. It's just plain mediocre. He reflects on how those who joined the sect alongside him have far surpassed his level. They now train under respected masters and are beginning to make names for themselves in the outside world. Meanwhile, Yang Kai has no choice but to remain in the sect as a floor sweeper, balancing hard training with the daily struggle to survive. The Lingxiao sect stands out among martial sects because of its unforgiving internal competition. In this place, the strong rise and the weak are ruthlessly cast aside. It's pure survival of the fittest, the oldest rule of nature. Other sects may encourage bonds of camaraderie among disciples, but in Lingxiao, such emotions have no place. To rise in rank, one must trample others, using fellow disciples as stepping stones, their blood paving the path to success. According to sect rules, every disciple under the age of 14 must endure a 3-year trial period after joining, regardless of background. During these 3 years, the sect handles their basic needs so that disciples on trial can focus solely on training. Those who manage to break past the tempered body phase within this period earn the right to train under the sect's masters, or if they prefer, continue independently. Lingxiao offers some flexibility in that regard, but those who fail are forced to either leave the sect or be demoted back to trial status. Life as a disciple on trial is brutally hard. Out of the over 3,000 disciples in the sect, only a handful hold that title. Many cannot even guarantee their next meal or find shelter. Starvation, homelessness, and neglect are part of their reality. Yang Kai has already been demoted to floor sweeper status once. He wonders if he must really go through that again, but he reminds himself there are only so many years in a lifetime. He chose this path and he intends to stick with it. He believes real men don't give up halfway. Suddenly, he hears footsteps and sees a group of disciples approaching. They recognize him, Yang Kai, the trial disciple. Yang Kai does not respond as they speak about him. They mention he is still at the 3rd phase of the tempered body and remarks that 5 days have passed since his last challenge. That means he is eligible to be challenged again. One of the disciples remarks that attacking him with so many people seems excessive. The other brushes off the concern, saying he is free to leave if he does not like it. Without a word, Yang Kai grips his broom and sits down to meditate. One disciple identifies it as Qi recovery meditation. They are confused and wonder why he is sitting down. Why is he trying to recover his Qi? One of them yells for the others to stop pushing, annoyed by the disruption. Another mocks Yang Kai, suggesting he should just lie down and take the beating quietly. They don't understand why someone as weak as Yang Kai still bothers trying to recover Qi he is bound to lose. Yet more voices chime in, mocking him further. They tell him to be considerate of others. Unlike him, they still have training to do afterward. But in that moment, something changes. Yang Kai releases a blinding light. It travels outward, reaching a nearby tree and startling a bird, which flies away from there. Then suddenly, the morning bell rings. 9 chimes as the sun fully rises. Yang Kai acknowledges the sound, recognizing it as the start of a new day. The disciples gather as Yang Kai picks up the broom and stands up. One disciple punches another, challenging Yang Kai for a fight, claiming he will finish it in a single blow. Another volunteer steps forward, promising to go easy on him and not cause harm. The crowd erupts in shouts. Everyone wants to be picked. Amid the chaos, a disciple reminds Yang Kai not to back out of the rule he set himself. Yang Kai tosses the broom into the air and spins it. All eyes follow it as it falls, pointing at a particular disciple. Laughter breaks out among the crowd. The chosen disciple steps forward and formally accepts the match, telling everyone there are no hard feelings. Another disciple grumbles about his luck. Yang Kai announces his opponent, normal disciple Zhou Dingjun, tempered body, phase 5. In return, Zhou Dingjun introduces Yang Kai as a disciple on trial, tempered body phase 3, also a core disciple. Within Within the Lingxiao sect, disciples fall into various ranks. Elite disciples are considered top tier, but core disciples are the ones most likely to become future successors of the sect. Since Zhou Dingjun is a normal disciple, he has yet to be accepted under a master. He declares that he will be under Yang Kai's tutelage for this match. Yang Kai launches a strike using Long Fist, but Zhou Dingjun dodges and immediately analyzes the move. Long Fist is a basic technique that all low-level Lingxiao disciples must learn. While good for body conditioning, it lacks real combat power. Zhou Dingjun counters with a kick, sending Yang Kai reeling. Yang Kai grunts in pain as Zhou Dingjun follows up with a punch, but Yang Kai suddenly charges forward. Zhou Dingjun realizes too late that he has fallen into a trap. However, he isn't worried. Even if he did fall for it, he knows his level gives him an advantage. Their punches collide mid-air and Yang Kai falls on the ground. Zhou Dingjun acknowledges that Yang Kai's punches are faster, admitting that if he hadn't struck first, he would not have been able to land a hit. He credits his higher cultivation level for not being sent flying and compliments Yang Kai on a good match. The onlookers whisper among themselves. One mocks Zhou Dingjun, questioning whether he knew anything about Yang Kai before accepting the challenge. Zhou Dingjun, however, begins to find the situation intriguing. He believes he has the upper hand. He sent Yang Kai flying, and by the sect's rules, his opponent should concede. But Yang Kai rises again and demands a rematch. They clash once more. Zhou Dingjun recognizes Yang Kai's next move as a whip kick. Surprised at the unorthodox application, he knocks Yang Kai down again, but Yang Kai rises and demands to fight again. One disciple mutters that Yang Kai's only strength is his stubborn perseverance. He won't quit until he is completely knocked out. Zhou Dingjun, now growing frustrated, realizes he is facing an opponent with a relentless will. He warns Yang Kai that if he keeps going, he might actually die. Yang Kai, determined, mentally refers to him as senior martial brother, and the battle resumes. Meanwhile, a girl watches from atop a tree, quietly recording every detail. She is part of the Lingxiao sect's Shadow Division, an elite group under the Third Elder. Their job is to document everything happening in the sect, including match outcomes. Thanks to them, disciples never have to worry about missing out on contribution points. The Shadow Division tallies everything at the end of each month. She remarks Yang Kai's record, a staggering 147 consecutive losses without a single win, an unprecedented streak in the sect's history. Despite being demoted to a disciple on trial, struggling to survive, he remains in the Lingxiao sect. She questions his motive, wondering if it's sheer stubbornness, desperation, or just the foolishness of men. Yang Kai regains consciousness, confused. He is sure he did not faint beneath a tree, so why did he wake up there? Yang Kai wakes up, dazed and sore. He wonders if some kind-hearted senior martial brother carried him all the way here, something that has never happened before. But then he remembers someone literally dragged him here, and honestly, it would have hurt less if they had just left him behind. He is in serious pain. Yang Kai notices a bottle nearby, picks it up and examines it. It turns out to be anticoagulant cream, valuable stuff. Just one bottle costs 10 sect contribution points, more than what he earns sweeping floors for a whole month. It even smells fragrant. Yang Kai has no clue who helped him out, but he silently vows to never forget this favor. Yang Kai promises to repay kindness whenever the time comes. He picks up his broom, heads home, takes off his clothes, and carefully applies the cream to his wounds. It's effective, but he knows it's been diluted, so its power isn't at full strength. Still, it's a treasure, and he plans to use it sparingly. He puts his head on a black book and falls asleep. Suddenly, the book begins to glow. In his dream, Yang Kai finds himself fighting Zhou Dingjun. Zhou Dingjun cannot believe Yang Kai is still standing. Yang Kai launches a final blow, knocking him down. Laughing triumphantly, he declares nothing in the world can stop him now, not even himself. Out of nowhere, a beam of black light shoots from the book and enters Yang Kai's head. He jolts awake, shocked. Embarrassed that he scared himself in a dream, he realizes he has been asleep for 4 hours. After folding his blanket, he grabs the black book and notices something strange. It feels different, lighter than before. Then, suddenly, another light flashes from it, and the book slips from his hands. As he bends down to pick it up, a new mystery begins to unfold. Yang Kai opens the book and notices that it's completely blank. He cannot tear any of the pages. He remembers finding this black stone while hunting in the Haifeng mountain range and never expected its true identity to be a book. But he wonders, what purpose could a wordless black book possibly serve? Then, lines begin to appear on the pages. As with blood foretold, descends a body of gold, divine technique untrained, the golden body sustained. Yang Kai senses a terrifying aura of chi coming from the words. He quickly shuts the book, then opens it again. More lines have now appeared. As with blood foretold, descends a body of gold, divine technique untrained, the golden body sustained. With the imposing golden body, be a ruler of everybody. Only that of a persevering soul can reap what it holds. Yang Kai reflects on the words, only that of a persevering soul can reap what it holds, and wonders if the black stone turning into a book is connected to the dream he had the previous night. He touches his mouth and recalls the line, as with blood foretold, descends a body of gold. Deciding to test it, he drips his blood onto the book. Suddenly, a black magic circle forms. A golden light flashes out from it. A skeleton emerges from the book. Yang Kai notices it and feels as if it's mocking him. It's just a skeleton, yet it radiates arrogance. When he touches its skull, a beam of light strikes out, knocking him down. Someone outside hears his cry. He struggles as the golden body tries to take over his consciousness, but he refuses to surrender. After the event, Yang Kai finds that his body does not hurt at all anymore. Instead, it feels as if it's filled with unfamiliar power. His injuries are gone, yet his cultivation remains at the third phase of the tempered body. Nothing has changed. He looks around, wondering where the black book went. Then, it suddenly reappears on the floor. As he picks it up, the book starts flickering, appearing, disappearing, and appearing again. Yang Kai examines the wordless black book in his possession and suspects that its material might be Rakshasa stone. He recalls that Rakshasa stones are born in the deepest gathering points of yin souls, where light never reaches. These mysterious stones form only after absorbing the life force of countless souls. He realizes that if anyone discovers he possesses such a high-tier treasure, not only the Lingxiao sect but the entire Han Empire could be wiped out overnight. With this heavy burden in mind, Yang Kai resolves that the only way to protect himself and this book is by growing stronger. Training was the very reason he joined the Lingxiao sect after all. Given his currently low potential, protecting a treasure like this is nearly impossible. Since the black book is now in his hands, he decides to start exploring its contents. The book holds many pages. Surely, it contains more than just the mysterious golden body technique. As he holds the black book, it begins to glow. A strange sensation flows into his brain. A page reveals itself with the title, Imposing Golden Body, Tempered Body Book. Yang Kai instantly understands what he is looking at. The technique seems simple in appearance but holds profound knowledge. It includes striking and footwork routines, along with an unusual requirement. Training must be done strictly at the break of dawn. This means he can only train for a maximum of 1 hour each day. Night falls, and Yang Kai chooses to rest. By early morning, he awakens and steps outside, knowing it is the exact moment to begin. As the first light breaks, he starts moving his body in practiced forms. Though he performs only 6 strikes and 3 steps, it amounts to less than 1% progress in the tempered body book. He immediately understands the difficulty and tells himself that perseverance will be key. Eyes closed, he throws himself into training. An hour later, a surge of energy courses through him. He can feel his chi. He is stunned to realize that he has reached the 4th phase of tempered body training. What took him 3 whole years to achieve before, he now surpasses in just 1 hour with this new technique. The tempered body book is already proving to be invaluable. But the breakthrough comes with a side effect. He suddenly feels nauseous and expels a cloud of dark energy. He recognizes this as processed waste. Every time a new phase in tempered body training is reached, the body purges impurities. He has experienced it before, but never on this scale. Even though he only tapped into 1% of the tempered body book's potential, the results are incredible. He can only imagine how much more powerful he will become once he fully utilizes the entire manual. Feeling rejuvenated and focused, Yang Kai picks up his broom and decides to return to his daily duties, cleaning just as before. The girl quietly observes Yang Kai standing on a tree in deep focus. She recognizes him and wonders aloud if it's really him. Meanwhile, Yang Kai remains serious, entirely lost in thought. A group of disciples walks by, confused by his behavior. One points out that Yang Kai has been sweeping the same spot for nearly 2 hours. The girl watching giggles to herself, thinking he is such a strange guy. But Yang Kai does not hear any of them. He is lost in contemplation. He reflects on the incredible power of the tempered body book, but also its limitation. It only allows 1 hour of training per day. He begins thinking about how he can make use of the rest of his time more effectively. While lost in thought, he accidentally accidentally swings his broom and hits a disciple. He quickly checks if the boy is okay. The disciple brushes it off but feels shaken. Yang Kai now feels like a solid wall, a strength he has never sensed from him before. The disciple excuses himself, clearly in a hurry. Yang Kai wonders where he is rushing off to, and then it clicks. It's the 8th day of the month. He remembers that every 8th, the guild announces the contribution points disciples earned the previous month. On this day, the logistics department becomes crowded as disciples swarm in to check their monthly progress. He reflects on his own situation. Sweeping floors earns him 10 contribution points, but he had been challenged 6 times the previous month. Each loss cost him 1 point. There's no point in dwelling on it, he thinks. He might as well keep doing his job. With 6 losses, his net gain is only 4 contribution points this month. Later, Yang Kai heads to the contribution hall and spots an old man slouched over, clearly daydreaming. He recognizes him as Manager Meng and wonders which female disciple the old man is fantasizing about this time. Yang Kai nudges him awake. Meng reacts with irritation at being disturbed. Yang Kai explains why he did not come earlier. The hall was packed, and only now has it cleared. Meng complains that his dream was interrupted and jests that the younger generation has no respect for their elders. With a grumble, he pulls out a notebook and hands Yang Kai 10 silver pieces, the usual monthly transaction. Yang Kai then asks about his current contribution point total. Meng reminds him that he earns 4 points monthly, and since 1 point gets deducted for the silver exchange, he is left with 3. So far, Yang Kai has only managed to save 12 contribution points. Yang Kai quietly laments that 12 points aren't even enough to buy any valuable herbs. Meng guesses he must be eyeing one of the medicinal creams, but Yang Kai brushes that off. He is simply asking. Still, he thinks to himself how limited his options are with so few points. Meng knowingly brings up the real issue, Yang Kai's desire for the marrow cleansing pill, a rare and powerful item that can enhance innate potential. But with his current rate of earning, Meng jokes it would take lifetimes to collect enough contribution points. In fact, he remarks that by the time Yang Kai gathers enough, he himself would have been dead for over 100 years. This triggers a question from Yang Kai. If the marrow cleansing pill is so valuable, why is it even available in the contribution hall? Why hasn't anyone else taken it yet? Meng chuckles and reveals that the pill is actually his own private possession, kept hidden from others. That explains why it's never been traded away. Yang Kai is surprised to learn this, but Meng clarifies that although it's his, he isn't offering it for cheap. If Yang Kai wants it, he needs to earn the full amount of contribution points. Meng boasts that people don't call him Meng Bapi for nothing. Yang Kai promises to work hard and earn the points needed. As he leaves, Meng brings up Yang Kai's recent defeat, clearly poking fun, and demands the story. Yang Kai keeps walking, thinking there's no point in reliving the humiliation. Meng just wants to rub salt in his wound. As Yang Kai walks off, Meng shouts after him, warning him to go back home. The Lingxiao sect, he claims, is no place for someone like him. He will just end up beaten to death. Yang Kai, without looking back, reflects quietly that he has no home to return to. Meng mutters to himself, revealing that the marrow cleansing pill he once spoke of does not even exist. He admits he only made it up to give Yang Kai some hope, never expecting him to take it seriously. Meanwhile, Yang Kai travels to Wumei town. He notices something different. Normally, after hiking 3 miles, he would be flushed, breathless, and exhausted. But today, he feels no fatigue at all. He wonders if this new endurance is due to the effects of the golden body technique. Along the road, he passes a group of disciples. One of them spots Yang Kai and immediately becomes alert. Upon reaching his destination, he arrives at a rice shop and thinks about the earlier familiar presence, Lingxiao disciple, among the group nearby. Still, it's not unusual since Wumei town lies close to Lingxiao sect, so seeing fellow disciples here isn't rare. Yang Kai steps into the rice shop and politely asks for a bag of rice. The lady boss greets him warmly, pointing out that he comes to buy rice only once a month. She wonders how he manages with so little. Yang Kai explains that he supplements his meals by hunting in the mountains, so the rice is enough for his needs. The lady boss clearly does not believe him, commenting on how thin he looks despite his claims of eating enough. The shop owner sitting nearby steps in and suggests giving Yang Kai some old rice that's just sitting around. He reasons it would go to waste anyway. The lady boss quickly agrees, noting that the old rice probably has weevils, making it unsellable. She jokingly adds that the boss claims rice weevils are more nutritious than regular rice. Yang Kai reflects on their kindness. Every time he visits the shop, the owners make excuses like rice weevils just to give him extra food. In reality, it's always good quality rice. They are just helping him out in their own quiet way. The lady boss heads off to fetch the rice, and Yang Kai sincerely thanks the shop owner, addressing him as Uncle He. Uncle He responds kindly, acknowledging that everyone living on their own hits low points. He encourages Yang Kai to come to the shop if he is ever hungry, reminding him they might not have much, but they always have rice. Suddenly, two more disciples enter the shop. One of them supports the other, who appears sick and weak. The healthy one rudely strikes the shop worker, causing him to collapse. Yang Kai rushes to help the man up. Uncle He is confused, trying to understand what's going on. The disciple aggressively demands to see the owner, accusing the shop of selling poisonous rice that allegedly made his brother ill. He claims that his brother was perfectly healthy before eating rice bought from the shop that morning. After cooking and eating a pot of it, his condition deteriorated drastically. The disciple insists that, had he eaten the rice too, both of them would be suffering. Uncle He tries to reason with them, suggesting there must be some misunderstanding, but the disciple refuses to listen, furiously accusing him of disregarding human life just to make money. Yang Kai steps in, trying to intervene calmly. The disciple challenges him, but Yang Kai turns to Uncle He, who quietly states he is willing to pay compensation despite not believing the rice is the cause. Uncle He maintains that the sick disciple's condition likely has nothing to do with the rice, but adds that regardless, he cannot just stand by doing nothing. He urges them to take the brother to a doctor for proper diagnosis instead of wasting time with accusations. But the disciple continues to rant. He insists that he and his brother are honest men, not thugs or liars, and lashes out with dramatic claims about the injustice they are facing. Uncle He remains calm and offers to cover the medical expenses, showing genuine goodwill. Yang Kai, however, watches this unfold and questions their sincerity. He doubts the truth of their claims and sees through the act. Uncle He then asks the pair what exactly they want from him. Before the situation escalates further, another disciple appears, one from the group Yang Kai passed earlier. This newcomer intervenes and calls out to the two brothers, asking them to wait. Yang Kai immediately recognizes him. He is the same person he saw earlier near the alleyway. Yang Kai becomes suspicious and wonders what this newcomer is planning. The angry disciple, growing impatient, demands to know what the newcomer wants. The new disciple comments on the poisoned man's pale face and sarcastically questions the situation. The angry disciple firmly insists his brother has been poisoned and justifies their actions, claiming that coming here was not about money but about warning others not to buy rice from this evil shop. Yang Kai quietly asks Uncle He if he is upset with anyone lately. The shopkeeper replies that he hasn't. Yang Kai wonders if this is about rival businesses, but Uncle He brushes it off, stating that his shop is too small to be a threat. Still, Yang Kai finds something strange about the whole situation. He cannot figure out what their real motive is. Suddenly, the new disciple launches a surprise attack, not at the shopkeeper or Yang Kai, but at the so-called poisoned man. His opponent dodges effortlessly. The attacker mocks him, clearly revealing that he is not actually poisoned. The crowd immediately catches on, shouting in anger as the scam is exposed. These two were pretending all along just to extort money. Yang Kai realizes the full extent of the scheme. The plan was for the newcomer to play the hero and earn everyone's praise, including Uncle He is grateful. It's a clean, manipulative setup. If Yang Kai hadn't seen them together earlier, he might have believed it himself, but he is still puzzled. Why go to such lengths for such a small con? The angry disciple reacts defensively, yelling at the new disciple and demanding to know who he is. The new disciple introduces himself as Sumu, a disciple of the Lingxiao sect. Hearing this, the angry disciple decides to retreat. They declare that they will concede for the day but promise revenge in the future. Their words sound so scripted that Yang Kai cannot help but laugh. Sumu smugly waves them off, but Yang Kai isn't having it. He understands the full playbook now. Sumu steps in as the hero, lets the culprits leave, and wins everyone's trust. Yang Kai refuses to let that happen. He loudly objects and rallies the crowd, warning that if these scammers get away today, other innocent shops will be targeted next. The townspeople agree, fired up by Yang Kai's call for justice. They shout their support, saying that if these crooks aren't stopped, their own stores could be next. The crowd surrounds the fleeing duo, shouting for justice. Yankai turns to Sumu, referring to him as junior martial brother, and proposes that they join forces to bring these villains down. Sumu flares up in irritation, denying any brotherhood. Yankai responds by clarifying that he has been a Lingxiao disciple for more than 3 years, technically making him the senior. Sumu suddenly pauses, realizing Yankai is indeed his senior martial brother. But before he can respond, Yankai launches into a passionate speech about justice. He declares that as martial brothers, it's their duty to defend peace and protect good people like Uncle He. He vows that today they must join hands and uphold justice together. The crowd erupts in cheers, rallying behind Yankai's inspiring words. They declare their support, impressed by the Lingxiao sect's honorable behavior. Sumu, now visibly stressed, does not know how to back out. Yankai pushes him forward, urging him into action. Sumu sighs internally, realizing he is cornered. He tries to think of a way to quietly release the two scammers, giving them a subtle eye signal, but Yankai notices the exchange. Before anything can happen, Uncle He joins the rally, calling on the townspeople to assist the Lingxiao disciples. The crowd responds immediately. Fueled by anger and a sense of justice, they rush the two scammers and begin beating them mercilessly. Sumu watches the chaos unfold, shocked and overwhelmed. After the dust settles and the crowd disperses, one of the beaten disciples weakly calls out to him. Sumu nervously responds, threatening to deliver another beating if necessary. Yankai confronts the two scammers, furious over their deception. He demands to know how many shops they've tricked using this scheme. A furious townsperson spits in disgust and joins the outcry, condemning the brothers for stirring up trouble in Wume town. Yankai raises the stakes, proposing that he and Sumu each kill one of the culprits as a warning to future criminals. He frames the act as righteous vengeance, justice on behalf of the heavens. The crowd gasps, shocked at the suggestion. One of the disciples turns to Sumu, who hesitantly questions if going that far is necessary. Yankai justifies it, stating that had their scheme succeeded, Uncle He's shop might have shut down. That would have left his family without income, an entire household ruined. He argues that their actions warrant severe punishment and that consequences must be faced. Sumu tries to reason that they cannot take lives so casually. Meanwhile, one of the beaten disciples realizes his partner in crime might throw him under the bus. He decides to spill the truth before that happens. Yankai begins to pressure Sumu further. He suggests Sumu's reluctance to kill might be because he knows the scammers personally. Sumu, startled, denies any such connection. Uncle He steps in, asking what exactly Yankai is implying. Yankai continues pushing, insisting Sumu looks like the type who would uphold peace without hesitation. So why isn't he acting now? Sumu nervously laughs it off, claiming he isn't scared of killing. In fact, he brags everyone has been killed before. Yankai urges him forward, telling him it's time. Suddenly, the beaten disciple erupts, calling Sumu a backstabbing traitor. He reveals the entire setup was Sumu's idea. The brothers were only supposed to cause trouble at Uncle He's rice shop so Sumu could arrive as the hero and win the shopkeeper's affection, more specifically, the affection of his daughter. Yankai finally understands the real motivation. Sumu was driven by unrequited love. The disciple continues, explaining that although he and his brother had made mistakes before, they would never stoop to extorting a kind shop like this. The locals had treated them like family, and Sumu's scheme forced them into a moral trap. Yankai presses further, asking what kind of reward Sumu offered. The disciple responds, 50 pieces of sterling silver. Yankai reacts in disbelief at the generous bribe. Uncle He, now furious, unloads on Sumu, berating him for using deceit to win over his daughter. He declares Sumu unworthy of the Lingxiao sect and laments the waste of his potential. He even goes as far as saying that Sumu could not match even a fraction of Yankai's character. Other townsfolk chime in. One criticizes Sumu for dragging the sect's name through the mud. Another woman expresses her disappointment, having thought Sumu was a true hero, only to learn he is nothing more than a scammer. Sumu glares at Yankai, burning with resentment. He believes everything is Yankai's fault, his plans, his reputation, all ruined. He angrily asks Yankai for his name, declaring that he will find out regardless. He identifies Yang Kai as a disciple on trial, one of the few in the entire Lingxiao sect, and warns that this isn't over. He storms off, shouting for people to get out of his way. Yang Kai chuckles and teases him on the way out. Then, looking around, he realizes the two beaten brothers have escaped during the chaos. Uncle He approaches Yang Kai, grateful for his help, but concerned. He warns Yang Kai that he might have made an enemy out of Sumu, which could lead to trouble back at the sect. Yang Kai shrugs off the concern. He trusts that the Lingxiao sect has rules. Even if Sumu holds a grudge, he won't be able to do anything too drastic. Still, Uncle He urges caution. If anything were to happen to Yang Kai because of today's incident, he would feel deeply responsible. Yang Kai promises to be careful. Later, Yang Kai walks away carrying his sack of rice. Uncle He and the others wave him off, wishing him a safe journey. Yang Kai thanks them warmly. Back at the sect, Yang Kai reflects on the day. With the rice secured, he does not need to worry about food for the month. He admits he was expecting Sumu to ambush him on the road back, but nothing happened. He recalls the rules. Disciples aren't allowed to harm each other without cause, especially outside sect grounds. If Sumu attacked outside the sect and word got out, he'd be in serious trouble. Yang Kai concludes that if Sumu wants revenge, it'll likely come in the form of a formal challenge within the sect. He also realizes he does not know how strong Sumu truly is, only that he has attained the tempered body. What phase, though, remains a mystery. Yang Kai becomes resolute. He knows what must be done. He needs to train harder and rise quickly, because if he does not, he may not last much longer at Lingxiao sect. After that, Yang Kai begins his training, but soon realizes the basic techniques of the Lingxiao sect offer no further benefit after acquiring the imposing golden body. He reflects on the limitations of only being able to train 1 hour per day at dawn. With 24 hours in a day, he wonders what to do with the remaining time. He is not about to just lie low or sleep it all away. After a refreshing bath, Yang Kai feels better physically, but mentally, he knows that continuing like this won't be effective. He resolves to find a more efficient training method, believing that a strong start sets the pace. That's when he remembers the mysterious black book. He grabs it immediately. Recalling how the first page contained the imposing golden body, the foundation of his path, and the second page revealed the tempered body book, his training manual, he flips to the third. A cauldron appears. Holding the object, Yang Kai interprets its purpose. The cauldron, or more accurately, a sensor, can help accelerate his training, but on its own, it's useless. To activate its potential, he must burn specific herbs inside it. The rising smoke is the real training enhancer. Different cultivation levels require different herbs. For his current level, 2 herbs are required: the 3-leaf soul remnant flower and desolate wilted grass. While not expensive, these herbs are rare. Worse, they are mildly poisonous. In large doses, they could pose serious harm to the human body. Still, he wonders if these toxic herbs could truly enhance his training. The contribution hall might stock them, but given Manager Meng's personality, they won't come cheap. With only a few contribution points to his name, Yang Kai cannot afford that luxury. Determined, he decides to search for the herbs himself. Fortunately, the Haifeng mountain range lies nearby. There's a good chance he can locate both herbs in that area. With that plan in mind, he calls it a night. At dawn, he continues practicing his strikes and footwork using the tempered body book. By morning, he is back at the contribution hall, sweeping the floors. Manager Meng casually tosses him a notebook. It turns out to be a detailed herbal guide. It lists not only effects but also where each herb can be found. Grateful, Yang Kai heads to the errands department and secures a 3-day leave without issue. With permission granted, he sets off. Arriving at Haifeng Mountain, Yang Kai enjoys the familiar breeze. It's as refreshing as always. While foraging, he collects his first find, sharp fang grass. Though it's difficult to pull out, he ventures deeper into the forest in search of more. Soon, he stumbles upon an oddly barren patch of land. Confused, he pulls out Manager Meng's notebook and cross-references the plant he spots. Confirmed, it's desolate wilted grass. He gathers it, realizing it's getting late. Preparing to camp overnight, Yang Kai eats a rice ball and decides to sleep atop a tree for safety. The next day, he resumes his routine with more training and consumes his second rice ball. Still hungry, he regrets not packing more food. He had planned to hunt wild game for sustenance, but the forest offers no prey, not even a rabbit. He grows frustrated, questioning how he will survive in the wilderness without more provisions. That's when he spots smoke rising in the nearby forest. Surprised, he realizes someone has started a fire fire out in the open wilderness, something only a fool or a seasoned expert would dare to do out here. Intrigued and cautious, Yang Kai moves toward the source of the smoke. As he approaches the origin, he finally reaches the spot and demands to know who's there. As Yang Kai ventures deeper into the wilderness, he suddenly finds himself facing a group of men aiming bows at him. Calmly, he explains he is only here to gather herbs. One of the men lowers his weapon and admits the fire startled him, thinking it might have attracted a dangerous beast. The tension eases. The man, who introduces himself as Zhang Shan, invites Yang Kai to join them by the fire, offering warmth against the night's chill. Yang Kai accepts and sits with them. Zhang Shan shares that they live at the foot of the mountain, making their living through hunting. It's a hard life, but enough to get by. He gestures to the young hunter beside him, noting the kid may be small, but he is seasoned in these forests. Zhang Shan then turns the question to Yang Kai. In response, Yang Kai introduces himself as a disciple from the Lingxiao sect and explains he is up here gathering herbs. Hearing this, Zhang Shan mentions that the boy with him once aspired to learn martial arts, but lacking talent, was rejected. That's why he holds martial artists in such admiration. Yang Kai gently pats the boy on the head and encourages him, believing one can still succeed through self-training even without joining a sect. The boy laughs and offers him some food. Yang Kai initially declines, saying that rations are important in the mountains and they should keep it. But Zhang Shan insists, saying Yang Kai looks like he hasn't eaten all day. Eventually, Yang Kai accepts their generosity. After sharing the meal, they all sleep together under the night sky. By morning, Yang Kai wakes up and reflects that the 2 herbs he collected, if crushed, might have minor healing effects. He believes they could be useful for the father and son who always hunt in the mountains. Afterward, he starts his training routine. Suddenly, a warm sensation spreads through his body and a bright light pulses from him. He realizes his chi is surging through his meridians. It hits him. He has just reached the 5th phase of the tempered body. In mere days since acquiring the imposing golden body, he has advanced 2 full phases. He is stunned by the speed of his own progress. Gathering his belongings, Yang Kai thinks that even with the training restrictions, his progress is unbelievable. If he could train freely, his cultivation would advance at terrifying speed. After that, he hunts a rabbit and smiles, satisfied. Today's yield is good. He gathered around a dozen herbs and caught fresh meat. However, he also realizes he has reached the 30-mile boundary of Haifeng Mountain. Venturing further risks running into fierce beasts. At his current level, all he could do is run, and if unlucky, he might even be devoured. As he moves through the forest, a distant scream suddenly draws his attention. Alarmed, Yang Kai rushes toward the voice. He soon arrives at a cave covered in thick spider webs. A bow lies discarded near the entrance. Wasting no time, he sets down his belongings and steps inside. Inside, he finds skeletons littering the ground, and Zhang Shan, barely conscious, wrapped in webbing. Yang Kai checks his breathing and sighs in relief. He is still alive. Zhang Shan opens his eyes weakly and pleads with Yang Kai to save the boy who was dragged deeper into the cave. Realizing there's no time to waste tearing through the web, Yang Kai quickly assures Zhang Shan he will go rescue the boy. Zhang Shan, placing all his hope in Yang Kai, warns him there's a spider demon inside. Inside the dark cave, Yang Kai finds not just webs, but people. Many others are bound and trapped, victims of something monstrous. Then he sees it, the spider demon, looming dangerously close to one of the captives, preparing to pierce its next victim. Yang Kai does not hesitate. He rushes forward at full speed and lands a punch that knocks the demon away. He immediately assesses the situation, realizing that thankfully, this creature isn't too advanced, likely only a level 1 demon, but even that's enough to be a formidable threat for someone at his current strength. Despite his efforts, Yang Kai is clearly outmatched, already showing signs of blood loss and possible poisoning. The spider demon quickly retaliates, releasing a thick web toward him. Yang Kai dodges just in time and observes the demon seal off the cave's only exit. Trapped, he realizes this is a battle to the death. The creature lashes out again, hurling more webbing, which Yang Kai narrowly evades. Suddenly, a sharp pain explodes in his arm. The spider demon's leg stabs straight through. Despite the agony, he feels a strange surge of adrenaline, an intense rush of energy coursing through his body. Pushing through the pain, Yang Kai strikes back hard, landing a solid hit that draws blood. The two lock into a fierce close-quarters battle. Each blow from the demon lacks the force it once had, and Yang Kai begins to feel like his body is being pushed beyond its limits, but in a good way. It's as if limitless energy is building inside him, making him faster, stronger. Another wave of webbing comes flying his way, but this time, Yang Kai blocks it head-on. He notes that the spider's attacks are weakening. This must be its last desperate attempt. Finally, he sees the demon stop moving entirely. It's dead. Even though it's just a level 1 demon, taking it down isn't something someone at the 5th phase of the tempered body could easily do. Yang Kai takes a moment to breathe, inspecting his injuries. They are bad, but thankfully, nothing fatal. With one last grunt, he yanks the demon's leg out from his arm, wincing. He moves quickly to the unconscious boy and hoists him up, determined to save him. Just then, Zhang Shan rushes into the cave, panicking and asking about the boy's condition. Yang Kai informs him that the kid has lost too much blood and is poisoned. Time is running out. He gently lays the boy on the ground and instructs Zhang Shan to stay with him. Without wasting another second, Yang Kai turns and sprints off into the forest. He needs supplies, fast. Yang Kai quickly prepares a simple herbal remedy. He chews the herbs, spits them out, and rubs the mixture onto the boy's arm, working fast to ease the poison. Zhang Shan, watching anxiously, nervously questions whether his son will be okay. Yang Kai reassures him, confident in his memory of the herb's medicinal effects. The boy shivers, but it's a good sign. Zhang Shan watches with hopeful eyes and quietly expresses his gratitude. Still, Yang Kai stays cautious, explaining that while the herbs are working, they are low grade. The poison is only suppressed, not cured. A doctor is still essential. Zhang Shan jumps at the idea, but is told to wait until the boy stabilizes. He agrees, deferring entirely to Yang Kai's judgment. Then Zhang Shan offers to tend to Yang Kai's injuries, shocked by the amount of blood he has lost. But Yang Kai, glowing faintly with a strange light, insists he feels great, stronger even. Suddenly alert, he checks his pouch and dashes off after recalling something from the cave fight. Yang Kai re-enters the cavern and finds exactly what he glimpsed earlier during the battle, 3-leaf soul remnant flowers. He gathers them, reflecting on their growth in dark, corpse-filled places like this cave. He smiles at the thought. His good deed brought him here, and in return, he has found what he needs most. Just then, another herb catches his eye, a glowing mushroom. It's unfamiliar, not listed in Manager Meng's herb manual, but he does not hesitate. If it's valuable, he will find out later. He collects it and heads out. Once outside, Yang Kai tells Zhang Shan they should descend the mountain together. Zhang Shan expresses his deep gratitude, but Yang Kai humbly brushes it off. He insists it was just a coincidence, no need for thanks. They arrive at Wumei Town's medical clinic. Zhang Shan desperately pleads with the doctor to save his son, but the doctor quickly shoos him out for being too loud. Yang Kai waits calmly outside. Moments later, Zhang Shan kneels deeply to him. He shares that Dr. Chu confirmed Yang Kai's swift actions saved the boy's life. Zhang Shan swears eternal gratitude, vowing to repay this act no matter what it takes. Yang Kai gently lifts him up, telling him not to kneel again. He reminds Zhang Shan that he even shared food with him earlier. Yang Kai considers the debt mutual. The moment is warm, heartfelt. Zhang Shan praises Yang Kai for his selflessness. Then, Dr. Chu finally returns with good news. The boy is safe, though he will remain unconscious for a while due to blood loss. He will recover fully in time. Relieved, Zhang Shan showers the doctor with gratitude. Meanwhile, back at Lingxiao Sect, a group of disciples gathers with questions. They notice Yang Kai hasn't shown up for his usual sweeping duties and wonder aloud if he might have overslept. Another mentions he hasn't been seen for several days now. Then, the speculation grows. Maybe Yang Kai finally left the sect, but others dismiss the idea. Everyone knows Yang Kai's stubborn nature. If he was going to leave, it would have happened months ago, after his demotion to disciple on trial, not now, after enduring so much. Just then, Sumu arrives and notices the crowd forming. He wonders what all the fuss is about and why so many disciples are suddenly so interested. At Lingxiao Sect, a disciple announces that today is the day disciples are allowed to challenge Yang Kai again. That's why a crowd has formed. Everyone wants a shot at earning some quick contribution points. Sumu smirks, noting that Yang Kai must be living a miserable life. The disciple confirms it. Every 5 days, Yang Kai gets beaten, and he never quits until he is unconscious. Sumu's anger lessens slightly, but not enough. He declares he won't rest until Yang Kai is driven out of Lingxiao Sect. Without the sect's protection, then he will be free to do anything he wants to him. The disciple eagerly agrees, blaming Yang Kai for ruining Sumu's perfect plan back in Wumei town. Unaware of Sumu's status, Sumu commands him to dismiss the gathered disciples, claiming today's bout for himself. The disciple obeys and loudly informs everyone that Sumu is reserving today's duel. One disciple protests, reminding everyone that Yang Kai usually chooses his opponent by tapping them with his broom, but another quickly intervenes, warning him to stay quiet. He explains that Sumu is backed by both an elder and one of the 10 great core disciples. Crossing him isn't worth it for a few contribution points. The others agree and start to disperse, apologizing as they leave. 10 minutes later, Sumu grows impatient and demands to know where Yang Kai is. A disciple admits he does not know. Yang Kai usually arrives early to sweep, but hasn't shown up today. Sumu decides to check Yang Kai's residence and leaves, declaring that a floor sweeper like Yang Kai has no right to keep someone like him waiting. As Sumu marches across the sect, some nearby disciples take notice and curiously follow. Sumu arrives at Yang Kai's house and scoffs at the sight of it. The disciple with him explains that trial disciples like Yang Kai must fend for themselves, even building their own shelters. This rundown shack must be his. Sumu storms forward and loudly demands Yang Kai come out to receive his beating. When there's no response, he orders the door opened. Once inside, they find no trace of Yang Kai, just a dusty, untouched room. The disciple observes that it looks like Yang Kai fled days ago. This idea amuses the nearby disciples. They recall not seeing Yang Kai lately and assume he wised up after crossing Sumu. They figure he ran off to avoid further trouble. Sumu fumes. Yang Kai taking the easy way out does not satisfy his need for revenge. He orders the house burned to the ground. The others freeze in shock. His fellow disciple hesitates, warning that arson within the sect might not be wise. Sumu brushes him off, declaring that even if the sky falls, he will handle it. Besides, the house isn't official sect property, so no one will care. He commands them to stop wasting time and bring him hay and a torch. Just as they prepare to burn it down, Yang Kai suddenly appears and questions them. Without turning around, Sumu casually responds that he is burning a house. Yang Kai asks why it's his house being burned. Still unaware, Sumu irritably calls it his own house until he turns and finally notices Yang Kai standing behind him. Startled, Sumu lashes out, offended that Yang Kai would dare tap his shoulder. Yang Kai, calm and cool, sarcastically refers to him as the hero from Wumei town. Sumu explodes, claiming Yang Kai has chosen death by confronting him today. Yang Kai confronts him directly. If Sumu wants revenge, he should come at him personally, not target his property. Sumu studies him and notices Yang Kai's ragged clothes and bruised body. Suspicion flickers. Yang Kai seems unbothered and confident, possibly from training during his disappearance. Still, Sumu dismisses the thought. No matter what training Yang Kai might have done, he is just a trial disciple. With Sumu's backing, he sees no reason why he shouldn't crush him right now. Sumu arrogantly tosses the fire stick, ready to continue his threats, but Yang Kai interrupts and calmly walks into his house. A nearby disciple mocks him for showing no respect to Sumu, encouraging him to beat Yang Kai down without mercy. Sumu grins in agreement. Inside, Yang Kai secures his pouch, thinking of the herbs he worked hard to obtain. He wants to keep them safe before the inevitable confrontation. When he steps back out, he invites Sumu to continue his speech. Sumu resumes, offering a chance to kneel and call him master to avoid a beating. Otherwise, Yang Kai is warned he won't walk away unharmed. Yang Kai suddenly starts moving his head from side to side, confusing Sumu. Turning to the other disciples, Yang Kai throws out a cryptic accusation of being unfilial, leaving them unsettled. Sumu demands an explanation, prompting Yang Kai to walk him through the idea. He mentions Sumu's family ties within the sect. Yang Kai's logic hits hard. He points out that Sumu's backers likely hold positions of authority. Sumu proudly confirms it. One is an elder and the other is his sister, a core disciple. Yang Kai claps a hand on his shoulder and calls him unfilial. Sumu angrily shoves him off, not understanding. With a mocking tone, Yang Kai explains that based on hierarchy, Sumu's sister would technically be his senior martial sister. If Yang Kai were to call Sumu Jr., what would that make his sister? And what about the elder? He concludes Sumu's behavior is a disgrace to his family, suggesting that if he were that elder, he'd imprison Sumu in Kunlong Ravine forever. Sumu freezes, caught off guard by the jab. His companion tries to dismiss Yang Kai's words, urging Sumu to focus on the reason they are here. Sumu refocuses and threatens Yang Kai again, demanding he kneel kneel and apologize or suffer the consequences. Yang Kai suggests a sparring match, but Sumu laughs off the idea. He claims Yang Kai is too weak and not even worthy of a duel. Sumu boasts that he has reached the 9th phase of the tempered body, far beyond Yang Kai's level. Yang Kai recalls the sect rule: sparring is only allowed within a 3-phase difference. Sumu smirks and loudly announces Yang Kai's supposed 3rd phase status, sarcastically asking if any brother wants to experience his legendary skill. The crowd laughs. One volunteer steps forward, Zhao Hu, who humbly claims to be the weakest in the group, but still at the 5th phase. He believes he is enough to handle Yang Kai. Yang Kai reflects on how much has changed. While he was indeed in the 3rd phase 5 days ago, he has advanced significantly since then. Zhao Hu introduces himself with confidence, warning Yang Kai to remember the name of the one who's about to defeat him. Offering a mock courtesy, Zhao Hu says he will allow Yang Kai 3 free attacks. If Yang Kai can even make him move, he will concede defeat. If not, he won't be held responsible for what happens next. Sumu watches with satisfaction, admiring Zhao Hu's ability to humiliate others while appearing generous. From a nearby tree, a group of girls watches silently as the challenge begins. Yang Kai respectfully declines the idea of going easy, but Zhao Hu insists it's only fair, and he laughs at the suggestion that Yang Kai could actually hurt him. With a cocky smirk, Zhao Hu assumes Yang Kai's frail frame cannot possibly generate any real power. He readies himself for a playful encounter. Yang Kai warns him that he is going to attack now. Zhao Hu, full of arrogance, welcomes it. Then, with all eyes on them, Yang Kai finally throws the first punch. Yang Kai punches Zhou Hu and he crashes to the ground. Sumu reacts with shock. Yang Kai announces that Zhou Hu has been knocked out. The girl watching from a tree is stunned. She loses her balance and falls, blaming Yang Kai for the shock. She wonders how he has grown so much stronger in just a few days. From his recent attack, it's clear he is now using Qi, and it's beyond the 4th phase of the tempered body. But just days ago, he was still in the 3rd phase. Yang Kai, meanwhile, reflects that his power control still isn't perfect. Sumu accuses him of cheating. Yang Kai rebukes him, saying accusations shouldn't be made without reason. Sumu stumbles to respond. A fellow disciple whispers to Sumu, revealing that their intel was wrong. Yang Kai isn't just in the 3rd phase anymore. That's the only explanation for how he defeated Zhou Hu. Sumu thinks Zhou Hu must have been careless. If he had really tried, he would not have lost so easily. Sumu admits Yang Kai hid his strength well. He promises they will meet again, and next time, Yang Kai won't be as lucky. They leave, carrying off the injured disciples. Yang Kai feels disappointed. The fight did not satisfy him. He also realizes he has missed his training session with the tempered body book because of Sumu. Reaching the pond, he removes his clothes to wash. The girl, spying nearby, had originally come to gauge his progress. She is shocked to see him undressing in broad daylight on the sacred sect grounds. She considers it shameless. Yang Kai finishes washing, puts his clothes back on, and reminds himself to sweep the floor since he has already accepted the duty. Despite having more important tasks, he takes the job seriously. He picks up his broom and decides to keep only the herbs he needs for training and exchange the rest at the contribution hall for points. At home, he thinks about changing into his ragged clothes again. Then he heads to the contribution hall. Meng, sipping tea, is surprised to see him. Yang Kai confirms he is back. Meng reflects that Yang Kai must have gone through a lot. Yang Kai agrees, noting the tough situations he has faced. He hands over the herbs, hoping they will be accepted. Meng evaluates them, just a bunch of low-average herbs, nothing of much value. The contribution hall already has plenty, and there's barely any storage space left for them. Meng enthusiastically agrees to the trade. 2 herbs for 1 contribution point. Yang Kai sighs, deciding to go along with it. Meng checks the herbs and questions whether Yang Kai really spent 3 days in Haifeng Mountain just to gather these. Yang Kai responds that getting even this much is already quite decent. Meng acknowledges it, then reflects to himself that although Yang Kai lacks natural talent, he is a hard-working youth, a rare quality nowadays. Unfortunately, his limited potential means he is unlikely to accomplish much in life. Yang Kai changes the subject, asking why Meng is glancing around. He explains he found something unusual on the mountain and wants Meng's opinion, trusting his experience. Meng opens the bag, pulls out a strange mushroom, and demands to know where it came from. Yang Kai explains he discovered it in a cave guarded by a level 1 demon and had to fight for it. Furious, Meng reminds him not to venture too deep into the mountain. Yang Kai insists he did not go far and has no idea why a demon showed up near the outer outer bounds. Meng is shocked internally. Yang Kai barely survived a battle with a demon. He decides not to tell him the real value of the item and outwardly praises Yang Kai's luck. He identifies the mushroom as a blood mushroom and quickly downgrades its value, calling it a lower earthly level item. Yang Kai questions him, and Meng confidently claims his expertise, boasting about the countless herbs he has seen in his life. When Yang Kai asks how many points it's worth, Meng offers 20. Disappointed, Yang Kai complains it's too low. Meng defends the price, explaining the mushroom's size and age reduce its value. Yang Kai accepts the deal. Yang Kai mentally calculates his total 36 points from this trip, making 48 with his previous points. He considers himself semi-rich. However, he still needs more desolate wilted grass, so he requests 10 from Meng. Meng informs him that the cost is 10 points, 1 per herb. Yang Kai immediately points out the inconsistency, reminding Meng that earlier it was 2 herbs for 1 point. He accuses Meng of profiteering and questions his morals. Meng counters that the sect sets the prices and he only manages the place. He insists there must be a difference between buying and selling prices, especially when supporting over 3,000 disciples. Yang Kai mourns his contribution points. Meng asks again if he wants the herbs. Yang Kai agrees and leaves. Meng thanks him for the patronage. Just as Yang Kai exits, the girl enters the shop. She informs Meng that she has surpassed it and checks on his injury. Meng assures her there's no need to worry. It's been many years without incident. Meanwhile, Yang Kai reaches home and pulls out his black book. He confirms the ratio, then adds the herbs into the cauldron, continuing his mysterious preparations. A special fragrance begins to emerge from the cauldron. Yang Kai senses it, but feels nothing unusual and decides to place it near his bed. Suddenly, a numbing sensation rushes through his body. As he tries to move, the cauldron slips from his hands and crashes to the floor. Yang Kai realizes he has already used up all his strength just from taking a few steps. He cannot even lift a finger now. Both herbs inside the cauldron are slightly poisonous. One targets the mind, the other the body. Yang Kai collapses to the floor, overwhelmed. He quickly deduces that the censor must have amplified the herb's effects dramatically. Now, he finally understands its true function. Since acquiring the golden body, his recovery rate has soared, making regular training ineffective. Without pushing his limits, he cannot unlock his full potential. Now, just walking pushes him to exhaustion. How can he keep training under these conditions? Struggling on the floor, he pushes himself, believing that where you fall is exactly where you must rise. Determined, Yang Kai forces himself to stand. Just before losing consciousness, a warm sensation spreads through his body. The numbness fades and he feels significantly stronger. He approaches the fallen cauldron, convinced that only by enduring hardship can he activate the golden body's hidden power. He bends down, lifts the cauldron, and chuckles at its stubborn nature. He notes that the combination of a 3-leaf soul remnant flower and desolate wilted grass lasts only 2 hours. At his current pace of 14 to 16 hours of daily training, his supply will vanish fast. That night, as he lies down, he reflects on his limited resources. Only 38 contribution points remain, far from enough to buy more herbs. Elsewhere, Sumu rushes to a disciple's house. Concerned, the disciple asks what's wrong. Sumu replies that he is still brooding over the morning's events. He questions the group's next steps. One disciple begs him to wait 4 more days. Sumu snaps, if he wanted to wait, why summon them now? He commands the disciple to come up with a plan before sleeping. The disciple agrees without hesitation. Another leans in and whispers an idea. Sumu approves. It's a solid plan and he assigns it immediately. The disciple assures him that everything will be handled. The next morning, Yang Kai chases a chicken away with his broom, reflecting on how effective yesterday's training with the censor was. He urges to finish his chores quickly so he can resume training. Just then, a disciple approaches Yang Kai and he asks the disciple what he wants. The disciple remarks that he has heard that Yang Kai taught Zhaohu a lesson yesterday and he was ecstatic when he heard the news. Yang Kai asks why he is holding a grudge against him. The disciple recalls that this person once slandered him. He is nothing more than a wolf in sheep's clothing. When Yang Kai asks why he does not take revenge, the disciple confesses that he often dreams of it, but Zhaohu is protected by someone powerful. If it were just Zhaohu, he would not be a concern, but the one backing him is untouchable. Yang Kai understands Sumu has support from higher authorities, making him untouchable for regular disciples. The disciple expresses his gratitude. When Yang Kai defeated Zhaohu yesterday, it felt like justice had been served on his his behalf. To him, that fight was proof of Yang Kai's strength, but Yang Kai dismisses it, saying it was nothing more than child's play. Li Yuntian remarks on how humble Yang Kai is and inwardly admits that Yang Kai finally told the truth. If he hadn't used any tricks, Zhao Hu would not have lost. He introduces himself, Li Yuntian, and shows his excitement about sparring, eager not to miss this chance since meeting his benefactor, Yang Kai. Yang Kai questions if he truly wants to spar, and Li Yuntian confirms, hoping Yang Kai won't hold back and will fight just as he did against Zhao Hu to settle everything. Yang Kai and Li Yuntian stand face to face. Yang Kai declines the fight, explaining that he does not usually spar with others. Li Yuntian insists, determined to convince him. He mentally scolds himself for sounding too forceful and explains he is a martial arts addict who feels restless if he does not spar daily. He pleads with Yang Kai to accept. Yang Kai hesitates, stating it isn't appropriate and there's no reason to fight. Li Yuntian argues that it's a friendly spar between sect members to verify their training and it would benefit them both. He urges Yang Kai not to worry, promising there won't be consequences. Despite the reassurance, Yang Kai continues to refuse. Li Yuntian appears shocked and suggests Yang Kai might fear losing contribution points. He assures Yang Kai that their skills are evenly matched and promises to repay any lost points, tenfold if necessary. Yang Kai questions if he is serious, and Li Yuntian gives his word. Yang Kai starts to consider, but explains he had just been challenged yesterday and needs a few days before sparring again. Li Yuntian suggests Yang Kai challenge him instead, reminding him that Lingxiao Sect disciples are allowed one challenge per day. Yang Kai, feeling slightly embarrassed, admits he had forgotten the rule. Li Yuntian pushes again, asking if they can spar now. Yang Kai inquires if Li Yuntian will really repay any contribution points lost. Li Yuntian affirms it with full confidence, even promising 10 times the amount. Yang Kai then leans in and whispers an idea, hinting that it's fine if Li Yuntian finds it too difficult. Worried, Li Yuntian runs off to get the items, promising to return quickly. Yang Kai watches him leave, amused by how someone is so eager to be beaten and even offers gifts when refused. He thinks it's strange, but convenient for his current needs, though something he cannot repeat in the future. Meanwhile, Sumu watches from behind a tree, confused. This was not the plan they discussed the night before. As Yang Kai sweeps the ground, Sumu observes him quietly. Another disciple arrives and informs Sumu that Li Yuntian claimed Yang Kai forced him to exchange 10 herbs from the contribution hall before agreeing to spar. Sumu finds it stingy, considering Yang Kai is only a trial disciple and would lose just 1 contribution point if defeated. The disciple explains that Li Yuntian boasted he'd pay back 10 times the loss, leading to this situation. Sumu brushes it off, saying it's fine as long as he gets to teach Yang Kai a lesson. 10 herbs are no big deal. At that moment, Li Yuntian returns, frustrated by manager Meng, demanding 20 points for 10 average quality herbs. He approaches Yang Kai and hands over a pouch of herbs, asking him to check. Yang Kai casually picks it up and declines the need to verify. Li Yuntian, eager, asks to begin the spar. Yang Kai agrees and reassures him that he trusts his word. Li Yuntian expresses his respect and the match begins. Yang Kai throws a punch, but Li Yuntian dodges. His hand feels numb. Yang Kai's strike was like hitting a rock. Li Yuntian counters with a push, but Yang Kai dodges again, leaving Li Yuntian confused. Then, Yang Kai lands a strong kick on him. Li Yuntian falls to the ground as Yang Kai charges at him and lands a punch straight to his face. Li Yuntian cries out, surrendering immediately. Yang Kai remarks that it was a good match and begins helping Li Yuntian to his feet. Sumu and a fellow disciple observe quietly from behind the bushes. Sumu asks about Li Yuntian's cultivation level, and the disciple responds that he is at the tempered body 7th phase but only recently and hasn't learned any martial arts yet. Sumu is stunned by the fact that someone at the 4th phase just defeated a 7th phase, something unheard of in the sect's long history. As Sumu processes it, Yang Kai places a hand on his shoulder, causing him to turn in surprise. Yang Kai hints that if something like this happens again, he should be informed. Sumu realizes Yang Kai figured out the setup. Yang Kai mentions that while Li Yuntian tried hiding in the crowd, his memory caught it. Sumu, frustrated, realizes he has been outsmarted. Yang Kai cheerfully walks away, promising to return the next day. A few days days later, he quietly slips into the bushes to focus on his cultivation without distractions. When he opens his eyes, he finds light spread all around him. He realizes he has finally reached the tempered body 7th phase. With this breakthrough, he can now generate chi and begin learning martial arts. Returning home, he retrieves a black book and opens it. The words "true mnemonic" are written inside. He already had a hunch. Reading further, he understands that the true yang mnemonic isn't about fixed techniques, but a flexible method that requires a yang energy environment. The book explains how the yang qi gathered through this method eventually liquefies and is stored in the energy nexus, a unique process unlike any other martial arts technique. The book details how ordinary martial artists hit a limit with qi, but true yang mnemonic allows continued progress by clearing meridians and storing energy. Even more, the stored liquid yang can be used during battle. A few days pass and Yang Kai resumes his meditation. As energy gathers into his body, he feels disappointed. A whole day under the burning sun barely raised his qi. He knows he has no choice. Sunlight is the only accessible source of yang energy, even if it's weak. Still, he is relieved to have formed the yang origin seal in his body. The seal reacts to yang energy within a certain range, and he is surprised to sense a reaction so soon. Later, Yang Kai arrives at Kunlong Ravine, a place filled with intense yang energy. Shocked, he realizes this place, once used to banish rebels, holds a power far greater than ordinary sunlight. He questions why the sect does not simply execute true traitors instead of sending them here to certain death. Suddenly, a powerful beam of light surges from the ravine. Yang Kai is stunned by the strength. It far surpasses any energy he has trained with. He sits and focuses, noticing an improvement in his training efficiency. When a fireball forms, he catches it in his hand and marvels at its warmth, sensing the true power of the sun. Unexpectedly, he turns and finds an old man standing behind him. He greets him respectfully, thinking this must be a high-ranking member of the sect. The man introduces himself as the 11th elder, and Yang Kai is confused. He does not recall the sect having 11 elders. The elder confirms Yang Kai is practicing martial arts, specifically a yang element technique. Yang Kai, impressed by the elder's insight, assumes he must be extremely powerful. He explains that something has been bothering him during his training in this location. Yang Kai asks the 11th elder why yang energy is seeping from the depths of Kunlong Ravine. The elder explains it's because a yang element treasure lies down there. Yang Kai already suspects that, but he does not understand what kind of treasure it is. The elder begins to explain the origin of the ravine. He reveals that Kunlong Ravine was formed when a man split the land with a single sword strike. Yang Kai is shocked, knowing the ravine is several hundred jang wide, its length unknown, and its depth so vast the bottom isn't visible. The elder continues, several hundred years ago, before Lingxiao sect was founded, their great grandmaster encountered a powerful villain while passing through the area. A great battle broke out. As the fight reached its climax and defeat became clear, the villain released a single sword strike that carved the massive ravine. He then dove into its depths, with the great grandmaster following him. After immense effort, the great grandmaster defeated him, but the villain's power is immense, even in death. The great grandmaster remains wary. He forms the Lingxiao sect afterward and guards the area for years, ensuring no danger remains. Only then does he leave. That is how the Lingxiao sect begins. The elder mentions that they have cast many criminal disciples into the ravine, and perhaps by coincidence, a yang element treasure has formed beneath. Yang Kai wonders if the elder has come to see the treasure. The elder responds with amusement. Yang Kai clarifies that he is not interested in the treasure, but the person. The elder ends the conversation, remarking that age makes one speak too much. Yang Kai sits down and decides to train near Kunlong Ravine for a few days. Several days later, while meditating, he successfully condenses his first drop of liquid yang. He is overjoyed. It's worth the hardship. He heads home. Back at his place, he finds the door open and feels confused. He remembers locking it before leaving. Inside, he finds a girl sleeping on his bed. He recognizes her as the senior sister he saw at the contribution hall. Amused, he notices the unfixed roof holes have somehow helped him this time. Suddenly, the girl wakes up and coughs, confused. Yang Kai awkwardly addresses her, feeling like he sounds inappropriate. She introduces herself as Xia. Yang Kai asks if she needs something. Xia explains that a hunter from Mount Haifeng came looking for him and asked her to give him a pouch as thanks for saving his life. She had waited all day for Yang Kai to return. He immediately realizes it must be Zhang Shan, the man and his son he saved while harvesting herbs. Yang Kai expresses his understanding and Xia mentions she waited so long that she fell asleep. He apologizes for keeping her waiting and promises to return earlier next time. She replies that it does not matter to her and leaves. Yang Kai thinks she is quite shy. He opens the pouch and admires the craftsmanship, assuming it's the work of Zhang Shan's wife. Lying back on his bed, he feels grateful. Zhang Shan is truly thoughtful. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. Yang Kai gets up, responds, asking who it is. He opens the door and sees a letter on the front. He picks it up and wonders if Li Yuntian is escaping. The letter is from Sumu and he writes they have not met for quite some time. He invites him to Haifeng Forest for a gathering. He would appreciate it if Yang Kai would accept this invitation. Yang Kai thinks Sumu isn't even trying to hide his deception. He must have set up an ambush at Haifeng Forest. But he does not mind. He decides to go and use the chance to test the power of his true Yang mnemonic. In the forest, Sumu stands with his disciples. Li Yuntian runs toward him. Sumu checks with him if he sent the letter. Li Yuntian confirms, and Sumu declares they will just wait for that bastard to show up. One disciple alerts Sumu that someone is approaching. A group of unfamiliar disciples arrives. One of them informs Sumu it's the people from Fengyu Pavilion, and the one leading them is Sumu instantly identifies him, Cheng Xiaofeng. Li Yuntian asks if they should step aside, but Sumu questions why they should. Li Yuntian silently reflects that Sumu and Cheng Xiaofeng have clashed before, and a new conflict might erupt. Yet Sumu refuses to back down, questioning what right Cheng Xiaofeng has to make him move. Li Yuntian knows they are outnumbered and that a fight would put them at a disadvantage. On the other side, one disciple points out Sumu and suggests action. The two groups meet face to face. Cheng Xiaofeng mocks Sumu, wondering aloud who dares block his path, only to realize it's Sumu himself. Sumu visibly shows displeasure. Suddenly, a girl steps out from behind Cheng Xiaofeng, grins and remarks on Sumu's indifference toward Cheng Xiaofeng. Sumu recognizes her with shock. Humayr from the Blood War gang. Humayr playfully wonders if Sumu knows her. Sumu silently confirms he does. Cheng Xiaofeng demands that Sumu move aside. Sumu stands firm and insists both sides can share the road. He isn't blocking anyone. Cheng Xiaofeng disagrees, but Sumu challenges, asking what if he does not. Humayr intervenes sweetly, suggesting it's fine and they can just walk around. But Sumu quickly realizes she is stirring trouble, trying to trigger a fight between Lingxiao Sect and Fengyu Pavilion for her own gang's benefit. Cheng Xiaofeng warns Sumu he'll regret it. Sumu, unwilling to show weakness in front of Humayr, boldly challenges him to fight. Cheng Xiaofeng responds that it's Sumu's choice and throws a punch, but Sumu dodges it. He instantly notices Cheng Xiaofeng has broken through into the qi refining realm. Cheng Xiaofeng declares that although they began training on the same day, from now on, Sumu will always trail behind. Sumu evades again. Yang Kai happens to pass nearby, hears the fight, and senses something is wrong. Cheng Xiaofeng knocks Sumu to the ground and demands his surrender, but Sumu refuses. Cheng Xiaofeng repeats the demand and Sumu shouts back that surrender will only happen in Cheng Xiaofeng's dreams. Yang Kai wonders if Sumu is being beaten up for offending someone, but also sees himself in Sumu's defiance. Just like him, Sumu lies bruised but unyielding. Humayr suddenly steps in and gently urges Cheng Xiaofeng to let Sumu go. She admits she likes Sumu's integrity. Cheng Xiaofeng laughs, saying he likes it too, then picks up a stone. Sumu shouts that unless Cheng Xiaofeng kills him today, this won't be their last encounter. Cheng Xiaofeng tells him to keep talking. Li Yuntian cries out in desperation, calling for his young master. Cheng Xiaofeng tries to strike Sumu in the face with a stone, but Yang Kai arrives just in time and stops him. Humayr gasps in shock, while Li Yuntian expresses surprise at Yang Kai's presence. Cheng Xiaofeng questions Yang Kai's identity, and Yang Kai confirms he is also a disciple of the Lingxiao sect by placing the stone into Cheng Xiaofeng's hand with confidence. Cheng Xiaofeng, now even more agitated, declares that he'll take on Yang Kai too, admitting he never liked the Lingxiao sect to begin with. He threatens to beat all of them no matter how many show up. One of the opposing disciples moves toward Yang Kai while he is resting, but Yang Kai uses sheer strength to shatter the stone in his own hand. The disciple screams about his injured face while another charges in and tries to punch Yang Kai, but Yang Kai counters, striking him in the face and sending him crashing to the ground. The disciple groans in pain, shouting that it feels like his body is burning from the inside. Hu Maier begins to wonder if Yang Kai is fighting with Qi. The fight escalates as Yang Kai clashes with more disciples. Watching the scene, Sumu reflects that despite all their past conflicts, Yang Kai has now become their unexpected savior. Yang Kai throws another disciple to the ground. Cheng Xiaofeng, watching in disbelief, cannot understand how Yang Kai could be so strong. Hu Maier giggles and Cheng Xiaofeng admits he is impressed by Yang Kai's power. He dashes forward, draws his sword and charges. He then thrusts the blade into Yang Kai's hand. Yang Kai warns the others that Cheng Xiaofeng has already reached the Qi refining realm. Hu Maier dismisses Cheng Xiaofeng's technique, thinking he is not special, just brutish. The fight rages on. Yang Kai lands a solid punch that sends Cheng Xiaofeng sprawling across the ground. Then, turning around, he locks his eyes on Hu Maier. Yang Kai grabs Hu Maier by the neck with his injured hand. She quickly explains she isn't with Cheng Xiaofeng's group. She belongs to the Blood War gang and did not attack anyone from the Lingxiao sect. She admits Yang Kai is impressive and provocatively wonders if he is good in other ways too. Still, she questions why he hasn't released her. Yang Kai acknowledges that while Hu Maier did not directly attack anyone, she has been stirring conflict between both sides. He decides she needs to be taught a lesson. He pushes her back and lets out a laugh before commanding her to leave. Deep within the dense Haifeng forest, Hu Maier quietly trails behind Yang Kai, her mind consumed with irritation and curiosity. She finds it hard to believe. Despite having countless admirers fawning over her beauty, the one man who catches her interest doesn't even spare her a proper glance. She's the one who made the first move, yet he brushes her off like it meant nothing. Reaching forward, she gently places her hand on Yang Kai's shoulder, remarks on how intriguing he is and then walks away, leaving him behind with those parting words. Later, Yang Kai stumbles upon a corpse and tears a strip of cloth from its robes, wrapping it around his injured hand to stem the bleeding. Turning to Sumu, he checks if he can still walk. Sumu nods firmly, and with that, Yang Kai leads them onward without delay. Back at Lingxiao sect, Yang Kai reflects on the internal politics of the martial world. The disciples from the nearby factions frequently clash with one another, but the elders rarely interfere. As long as no prominent life is lost, they all turn a blind eye to the chaos. Entering his humble hut, Yang Kai inspects his injuries. He notes that he deliberately avoided having his bones and meridians struck, so aside from a few superficial flesh wounds, he's fine. He decides not to waste any medicinal ointments and instead sits down to cultivate. As warm golden light radiates from his body, Yang Kai channels the true Yang Qi flowing through his imposing golden body. Its healing properties begin to mend his wounds, and he focuses on rest and recovery. Opening his eyes moments later, he realizes something astonishing. He's already advanced to the 8th phase of the tempered body realm. He links his sudden breakthrough to the intense combat he experienced earlier, realizing that fighting with his full strength helped push his cultivation further. It becomes clear that battle is an effective method to accelerate his growth, and his absorption rate of Yang Qi has improved dramatically. Several days pass, and Yang Kai, busy with chores, notices Sumu and Li Yuntian approaching. He hadn't seen them since their encounter, likely because they've been recovering. With a smirk, Yang Kai jests, questioning if Sumu is looking for another fight. Sumu waves the comment off and gestures to Li Yuntian, who promptly hands him a bottle. Sumu accepts it and walks over with a grin, offering the bottle to Yang Kai as a gesture of gratitude. He insists on taking the first drink to show sincerity. Yang Kai joins him, clinking bottles and downing the drink with ease. But their light-hearted moment doesn't last long. A strict sect disciple arrives, scolding them for drinking alcohol in broad daylight and reminding them of the sect's rules. For this first offense, he penalizes them by deducting 5 contribution points each, warning of harsher consequences next time. Unbothered, Yang Kai casually accepts the punishment, brushing off the scolding. The disciple, shocked by Yang Kai's nonchalant attitude, stands speechless. Sumu quickly instructs Zhao Hu to help senior martial brother Yang clean the area. Zhao Hu nods in agreement, but Yang Kai waves it off, insisting it's unnecessary. Still, Sumu insists they accompany him to his small shed. He has something important he wants to talk about. Inside the shed, Sumu turns serious and asks why Yankai risked his life to save them. Yankai reflects quietly, then responds with honesty. Since they address him as senior martial brother, he should act like one. That simple principle guided his decision. Sumu, taken aback by the sincerity, accepts the explanation and promises to treat him as their true senior from now on. He even apologizes for all their past misunderstandings, showing heartfelt remorse. Yankai assures him that he never took their actions to heart. Then, with a mischievous grin, Sumu leans in, coughing awkwardly before asking a private question about who mayor. Yankai is caught off guard, asking what exactly Sumu means. Sumu clarifies. He's asking if Yankai touched her that day. Yankai replies confidently that he did, but only because she forced his hand onto her. He insists it was merely a lesson she needed to learn. Curious, Sumu presses further, wanting to know how it felt. Yankai flips the question, teasing him by asking if he's never experienced that before. Judging by Sumu's reaction, Yankai suspects the spoiled youth may still be an innocent virgin. When Sumu returns the question, Yankai smirks, brushing it off with a vague remark about his mysterious past, implying he has more experience than he lets on. While Sumu's fellow disciples continue helping out at Yankai's modest residence, Sumu lowers his voice and warns Yankai to be cautious. Who mayor, he explains, is a proud woman, one who won't easily forgive having her image tarnished. She's likely to retaliate, not with blades or fists, but with seduction. He warns that Yankai might soon find himself drawn into her schemes, especially on the bed, where she'll try every trick to ensnare him. Sumu jests that his senior martial brother seems unusually fortunate when it comes to romantic entanglements. Yankai, however, brushes off the concern, making it clear that he has no interest in someone like her. He questions if this warning is all Sumu wanted to talk about. Sumu shakes his head, revealing a small gesture of gratitude instead. He pulls out a bottle of small chi recovery pills and offers them to Yankai, suggesting that they'll help replenish his spent energy. Though grateful, Yankai reflects silently that these pills, while helpful for martial artists in the 7th phase of the tempered body realm, hold limited value for someone like him, especially since his cultivation technique, the true Yang mnemonics, naturally restores his chi. Still, out of respect and not wanting to reject the goodwill, he accepts the bottle. Sumu then invites him somewhere special, promising that he won't be disappointed. Yankai is intrigued and agrees to follow. The next day, the group heads into the familiar yet mysterious Haifeng forest. Yankai can't help but question why Sumu would bring him back here. Sumu begins to explain the broader context of the forest, pointing out that it acts as a common intersection for disciples from the 3 nearby sects, Lingxiao Sect, Fengyu Pavilion, and the Blood War Gang. Because of their close proximity, any disciple wishing to pass through must use this forest path, which explains their previous encounter with Cheng Xiaofeng at the forest's edge. Curious, Yankai asks why Sumu and his group were here to begin with. Sumu reveals something new. Hidden within Haifeng Forest is a lively and semi-secret marketplace. This market attracts disciples from all 3 sects, as well as martial artists from Wumei Town. They come to buy, sell, and barter all sorts of items, from herbs to rare materials, using gold, silver, or simple trade. The Haifeng marketplace, Sumu boasts, is always bustling with activity. Li Yuntian chimes in, confirming Sumu's story with excitement. He recalls how young Master Su once snatched a celestial element fruit for only 10 taels of silver, a truly rare find. The fruit is a lower earthly level spiritual fruit, and Sumu had outwitted a seller who didn't realize its true worth. Yankai quietly acknowledges that, if true, it was an incredible deal. Still, he admits to himself that he had never even heard of this mysterious marketplace before. Shifting topics, Yankai suddenly asks Sumu if the Lingxiao sect has an 11th elder. Sumu laughs and clarifies that their sect has no such position. Li Yuntian explains, further noting that aside from their sect leader, there are only 5 elders in total. Sumu adds another interesting fact. He's heard that their sect leader is somewhat of a legend. Apparently, the sect leader has already reached the peak of the soul reverie realm. Yankai's thoughts race. The path of martial cultivation begins with the tempered body realm, then progresses through chi refining, chi moving, separation reunion, true element, and finally, soul reverie. Each realm contains 9 phases, and the higher one climbs, the more difficult progress becomes. The Soul Reverie realm is incredibly rare, and to think their sect leader stands at its peak is staggering. If the sect leader were to break through to the next level, his power would be unmatched. He'd stand at the very summit of martial excellence. Sumu continues, noting that the Blood War Gang's leader, Hu Man, and the Fengyu Pavilion's head have only reached the 6th or 7th phase of the same realm. They are no match compared to Lingxiao's leader. Li Yuntian eagerly asks how long their leader needs to achieve a breakthrough. He fantasizes about the sect becoming the dominant force for thousands of li in all directions, unstoppable by any rival force. But Sumu suddenly falls silent, his expression darkening. When asked what's wrong, he hesitates but eventually reveals something serious. His father once told him that the sect leader reached the peak of Soul Reverie many years ago. Naturally, this raises the question, if that's true, why hasn't he broken through? Sumu sighs deeply and avoids answering at first, but when pressed by the others, he relents. Turning to Yang Kai, he makes him promise not to repeat what he's about to share. If word gets out, it could lead to serious trouble. He explains that, around a decade ago, something major shook the foundation of the Lingxiao sect, and that event is the reason why their leader has remained stuck in the same realm for so long. Yang Kai grows increasingly curious. Sumu continues, explaining that their sect leader never married and has no children. In his lifetime, he only took in 2 disciples. This, it turns out, is where the problem began. The elder disciple was hardworking and humble. The second disciple was intelligent and quick-witted. Both were exceptionally talented, and the sect leader invested deeply in their training. They rose through the martial ranks at equal pace, but their differing personalities led to different styles of instruction. The eldest received more praise, while the second faced harsher discipline. Eventually, that disparity bred resentment. The second disciple believed the sect leader was biased and favored his senior. Over time, his jealousy morphed into hatred. The rift between the brothers widened, and the second disciple's heart began to twist in darkness. To make matters worse, the second disciple eventually encountered and began practicing an evil cultivation method, one forbidden and corrupting. Yang Kai, along with Li Yuntian and Zheng, is left stunned by the revelation. Li Yuntian expresses disbelief that such an incident could occur. Yang Kai reflects that this must be true and concludes that Sumu isn't exaggerating. He decides to hear the full story. Sumu explains that after using a certain training method, the second disciple's personality changed drastically. His strength improved tremendously, making him stronger than the eldest disciple. However, the sect leader discovered his training method and, despite the emotional cost, removed his martial power. This act pushes the second disciple completely into the path of evil, consumed by darkness. That night, 10 years ago, blood flows like a river in Lingxiao sect. The eldest disciple dies instantly, and the second flees after committing the crime. One disciple asks what happens afterward. Sumu explains that since then, few have seen the sect leader. Everyone assumes he has become indifferent and emotionally broken, but surprisingly, the sect leader eventually reappears. At that moment, regardless of distance, he captures the second disciple personally and locks him beneath Kunlong Ravine. Yang Kai recalls meeting the 11th elder who claimed he came not for the treasure, but for a person. Yang Kai wonders who this person might be and suddenly becomes alarmed. Could it be the 11th elder? Sumu adds that since then, the sect leader has been unable to break through the Soul Reverie realm and remains stagnant. Li Yuntian expresses regret and declares that the second disciple is shameless. Sumu remarks that until the emotional blockage is resolved, the sect leader cannot truly find peace. Later, Yang Kai and Sumu arrive at a bustling market. Sumu points out that they've reached their destination. Yang Kai observes that the place isn't bad. Sumu gestures toward Lingxiao sect and assures Yang Kai that he'll be safe. Strong disciples from all 3 sects are stationed here. He points out a small wooden house where Lingxiao sect disciples reside and says his older sister is inside. Yang Kai asks about her. Sumu warns him not to target his sister romantically, though he doubts Yang Kai could even manage it. Yang Kai inquires about her strength. Sumu confirms that she is very powerful. At the 3rd phase of the True Element realm, a level very few young cultivators achieve. He adds that the next level beyond that is the Soul Reverie realm, the same realm where their sect leader is stuck. Yang Kai questions why, if his sister is that strong, Sumu is still in the body-tempered realm. Sumu admits he has been playful but promises to train harder now. He adds that it would be embarrassing to be surpassed by a disciple on trial like Yang Kai. Yang Kai thinks that Sumu's recent pain seems to have awakened his ambition. Sumu then offers to introduce him to his sister, saying her protection will make things easier in the Haifeng marketplace. Yang Kai asks Li Yuntian about her name. Li Yuntian promises to tell him once they arrive. Outside Lingxiao Sect, Yang Kai observes the buildings and concludes that they must house Lingxiao Sect masters. Sumu approaches the door and announces his presence to his sister. Yang Kai mocks him slightly but stifles his laughter. Sumu gets angry. From inside, his sister invites them in. Sumu opens the door and walks in, with Yang Kai following. Yang Kai senses an intense aura in the room, the air almost stagnant and suffocating. He then sees Sumu's sister strike him. Li Yuntian remarks that she is Sumu's elder sister, Suyan. Yang Kai reacts with awe. Suyan questions Sumu, who immediately acknowledges the reason for her anger. She then turns her gaze to Yang Kai, making him instinctively flinch. Suyan confronts Sumu, questioning if he knows why she hit him. Sumu admits it's because he hasn't been good enough. She presses further, and he confesses that it's due to a lack of training. Suyan affirms his understanding and demands that he remember what to do moving forward. She warns him that if he continues slacking, she'll personally come down and deal with him again. Encouraged, Sumu promises to work hard and train, assuring her he won't disappoint her. Suyan turns to Yang Kai and inquires whether he is the one who defeated Cheng Xiaofeng. Yang Kai observes how informed she is despite being immersed in training. He confirms it. She acknowledges he is better than Sumu and advises him to stay away from him, warning that sticking with Sumu will limit his progress. She then excuses herself, saying she needs to train. Outside, Li Yuntian mentions checking the progress of the pills they had commissioned. Sumu comments that his sister tends to be proud and cold, asking Yang Kai not to take it personally. Yang Kai smiles, thinking she is actually his type. He tells Sumu not to worry and encourages him to take care of his business, saying he'll explore the market alone. Sumu agrees and part ways with him. Yang Kai walks through the marketplace, coming across a stall giving out synthesized pills for free. He reflects that the stalls here not only buy and sell but also offer commissions to low-level alchemists for pill synthesis. He has been keeping an eye out for Yang element treasures ever since entering, and the erratic response from the Yang origin seal confirms that there are many such items nearby. He understands the market value of small chi recovery pills, which are useful only to those in the 7th to 9th phase of body tempering and priced around 50 taels each. Since Sumu gave him a bottle containing 10 of them, it's worth 500 taels, not enough to do much. Suddenly, Meyer appears, startling him. She cheerfully greets him, claiming she just wanted to say hello. Yang Kai ignores her and tries to leave, but she follows. After 5 minutes, Yang Kai turns and questions her, but Meyer denies following him and insists she is just walking around the market. She teasingly asks if he is that concerned about her. Frustrated, Yang Kai warns her to stop following him. She challenges him, suggesting he might treat her like before. Yang Kai chooses to leave quietly, thinking he does not have time for her antics. He reaches a stall and notices a shining stone. The vendor eagerly engages him, promoting the quality and fair pricing of his goods, assuring him they are profitable whether for use or resale. Yang Kai points to the stone and inquires about its price. The vendor identifies it as a dazzling sunstone and quotes 500 taels. Yang Kai realizes the stone is reasonably priced but laments that it's all the money he has. He comments on the cost. The vendor laughs and defends the pricing, explaining that everything is clearly priced and fairly set. He adds that if Yang Kai checks other stalls, he'll find the price accurate. He further clarifies that he is only reselling the gang's goods and cannot lower the price without taking a personal loss. Yang Kai asks about the gang and instantly deduces it must be the Blood War gang. He glances at Meyer, who confirms it and says the stall belongs to her family. She offers to give him all the stones if he agrees to a simple favor. The vendor hesitates, but Meyer assures him she'll inform her father. She repeats her offer, emphasizing how easy it should be for someone like Yang Kai. He immediately refuses, and she grows irritated, instructing the vendor to give him a discount instead. Yang Kai declines and agrees to the full price. He takes out a pill bottle and asks to barter, reminding that pills can be used as currency in the marketplace. He explains that the bottle contains about 10 chi recovery pills, equivalent to 500 taels. The vendor agrees. Yang Kai feels validated in his decision. The vendor then offers him some seeds as a gift, saying they are not worth much anyway. Yang Kai curiously asks what they are. The vendor explains that the seeds come from 3 yang fruit trees discovered while mining for dazzling sunstones. The fruits they bear are classified as lower earthly spiritual fruits, though they take many years to grow. Yang Kai considers the long wait for the fruit, estimating it would take a decade. Still, he accepts the seeds out of gratitude for the vendor's kindness. As he walks away, Maya rushes after him. Yang Kai immediately starts thinking of how to shake her off, not wanting her to follow him back to Lingxiao sect. Her reputation is poor, and being seen with her might affect how others view him. He figures that venturing deeper into Haifeng Forest might scare her away. Meyer, observing his movements, suspects his plan. Though unsure about Yang Kai's intentions and nervous about the forest, she wonders if he is merely bluffing. Yang Kai is surprised that she dares to follow him. He plans to confront her once they reach a more isolated area. Meanwhile, Cheng Xiaofeng and another martial artist observe them from a distance. The companion expresses surprise that Cheng Xiaofeng was defeated by someone still in the tempered body realm. Cheng Xiaofeng admits that he underestimated Yang Kai and describes the unusual way Yang Kai blocked his sword and restrained him. The companion asks if he has investigated Yang Kai's background. Cheng Xiaofeng confirms that Yang Kai is just a disciple on trial with no strong connections. His companion is shocked, noting that Lingxiao sect has fewer than 10 trial disciples and Yang Kai is among them. Cheng Xiaofeng admits he was initially worried about the difficulty of ambushing him in a busy area like Haifeng Forest. However, he finds it fortunate that Yang Kai entered the forest willingly, distracted by Meyer's presence. The fellow cultivator jokes that Cheng Xiaofeng is about to get both his revenge and a romantic moment. Cheng Xiaofeng quickly denies any such intention, saying he called his senior for assistance, not competition. Grateful, the senior agrees to help, and they hurry to catch up to Yang Kai and Meyer. Yang Kai, still bothered, asks Meyer what she wants. She pleads with him to accompany her just once, promising not to bother him again. He coldly refuses. Meyer questions her appearance and whether he finds her attractive. Yang Kai bluntly tells her that while she looks good on the outside, her inner self is full of filth. Stunned, Meyer accuses him of calling her dirty. Yang Kai affirms it. Furious, she reminds him that she is doing him a favor and that many men would kill to be with her. Yang Kai tells her to seek those men instead and questions why she keeps bothering him. She snaps, warning that if she tells her father, he won't survive the night. Yang Kai coldly threatens that if she pushes him any further, he might eliminate her before she gets the chance. Shocked, Meyer asks if he is serious. He warns that his patience is wearing thin. Suddenly, Yang Kai senses danger and Cheng Xiaofeng and his companion step out from hiding. Meyer is surprised to see them. Cheng Xiaofeng assures her that they are only after Yang Kai's life and won't harm her. The other man echoes the sentiment, saying it would hurt him to see her injured. Meyer quickly advises Yang Kai to listen to her if he values his life. She explains that Nu Tao recently advanced to the 5th phase of the Qi refining realm and that he is much stronger than Cheng Xiaofeng. Facing the two of them, Yang Kai does not stand a chance. She offers him a deal. If he agrees to her conditions, she can ensure his safety. Yang Kai declines. She questions if he'd rather die. He responds that he is a bit of a clean freak and reminds her that only battle will determine who survives. Accepting his decision, Meyer steps aside. Cheng Xiaofeng praises her for staying out of it. Nu Tao addresses Yang Kai directly, warning that he brought this on himself. He offers Yang Kai the chance to end things himself or face death. Yang Kai remains defiant and challenges them to come at him with their full strength. Yang Kai activates the true Yang mnemonic. A rush of aggressive heat flows through his body, surging through his acupoints. He senses a strong wave of Yang Qi moving through his meridians. His body, now used to the intense heat and pain, adapts quickly. He realizes a new drop of liquid yang has formed, and then another. He notices one of the droplets vanishes and quickly deduces that it's because the dazzling sunstone has been fully absorbed. The yang qi from the stone is completely gone, transferred into his body in seconds. Nu Tao instructs Cheng Xiaofeng to act quickly before the situation changes. Cheng Xiaofeng agrees, but as they approach, Nu Tao wonders why Yang Kai hasn't moved yet. Then, as Nu prepares his strike, Yang Kai launches a counterattack. Shocked, Nu shouts about the intense heat radiating from Yang Kai's chi. Cheng Xiaofeng steps in, hoping not to be bested again. He attempts to overpower Yang Kai, but Yang Kai retaliates with equal force. Stunned, Cheng Xiaofeng calls out to Nu for help. Nu shouts a warning, but it's too late. Yang Kai strikes directly at Cheng Xiaofeng's forehead. Nutoa and Meyer are stunned by Cheng Xiaofeng's death. Nutoa demands to know how Yang Kai dares to kill his marshal junior and questions the technique he used. Yang Kai coldly warns that he'll be next. Enraged, Nutoa swears to kill him. Yang Kai reflects on how this situation differs from last time. It's no longer just a quarrel. Now that his life is at stake, he knows it would be foolish not to go all out. Nutoa mocks him and declares victory, assuming Yang Kai's chi must be nearly depleted after such a powerful strike. He thinks that a body-tempered realm cultivator cannot hold much chi, so Yang Kai shouldn't be able to repeat that kind of attack. Confident, he charges. However, Yang Kai meets his strike head-on, and Nutoa immediately realizes Yang Kai still has chi, and his techniques radiate intense heat. He quickly backs off and decides to drag the battle out. He believes that once Yang Kai's chi is drained, he'll be helpless. Maya recognizes that Nu Tao has shifted to an attrition strategy, the most effective way to exhaust a martial artist in the tempered body realm without heavy losses. But as the fight continues, Yang Kai punches Nu Tao again, and Nu Tao becomes alarmed. He wonders why Yang Kai's strength is increasing instead of decreasing. Yang Kai then lands another punch that causes Nu Tao to cough up blood. When Nu Tao tries to retaliate, Yang Kai overpowers him and pushes him back. Realizing he is outmatched, Nu Tao decides to retreat, vowing revenge for his fallen junior. But before he can escape, Yang Kai raises his bloodied hand, channels his power, and finishes him off with a powerful strike. Nu Tao is killed instantly. Meyer is frozen in disbelief. She had assumed Yang Kai would beg for her help once he started losing, giving her the opportunity to get what she wanted. But things turn out completely differently. Yang Kai then turns to her and she is visibly terrified. He tells her not to stand there and begins checking the bodies. He finds some silver taels and 2 nearly empty bottles of pills, still worth something, so the battle was not a total loss. Meyer, desperate, offers him money, begging him not to kill her. Yang Kai coldly responds that he is not a robber and does not need her money. If he needs more, he'll earn it himself. He orders Meyer to come to him. Frozen in fear, she hesitates, but he assures her that if she listens, she won't be harmed. Meyer reluctantly agrees. Yang Kai lifts Nu Tao's body and instructs her to carry Cheng Xiaofeng. She breaks down in tears, shocked that he is actually asking her to move a corpse. As they walk, Yang Kai considers the risk. Even though they are deep in Haifeng Forest, it's possible others could stumble upon them. He decides the bodies must be disposed of in a more remote location, so far that no one from Fengyu Pavilion could ever trace them. If anyone sees the bodies and reports it, things could get complicated. The method of death, hot chi through their vital points, could lead investigators straight to him. Once they reach a suitable spot, he orders Meyer to tie stones to the corpses. Then, he throws them into the water to ensure they sink. He reminds her that she is now his accomplice and implies that she knows what that means. Surprisingly, Meyer appears pleased and quickly agrees. Yang Kai is left wondering why she seems so happy about that. Yang Kai smiles and remarks that everyone appreciates intelligence in a woman. He brushes off Hu Meier's presence and leads her away, his mind lingering on the fight. He reflects that it was Cheng Xiaofeng and Nu Tao who provoked the battle, and in such a situation, he had no choice but to kill. It was either act or be killed. Even if Hu Meier were to report this incident, Yang Kai feels no fear. He knows he acted out of necessity. Curious, Hu Meier probes further, asking if Yang Kai has been killed before. He replies this was his first time, but she finds that hard to believe. His emotionless actions and cold precision during the fight suggest experience. Still, Yang Kai doesn't attempt to convince her otherwise. He leaves her to believe whatever she wants. Later, they stop near a river. Yang Kai removes his clothes and leaps into the water, telling Meyer to guard them while he bathes. As he relaxes in the cool stream, he finds it refreshing after the recent tension. When he returns, Meyer unexpectedly follows him into the river for her own bath. As she steps out, she notices that Yang Kai doesn't even glance at her, which unsettles her. She questions silently whether he truly has no interest in her at all. Sitting beside him, she finally speaks. Despite her flirtatious nature and reputation, she confesses she has never actually been with anyone before. She admits Yang Kai is the only man who has ever touched her. Everything she's done over the years, the seduction, the manipulation, was for 2 reasons: to recruit promising talents into the Blood War gang and to deepen the rift between Lingxiao Sect and Fengyu Pavilion. That includes why she has been so persistent with him. She wants to know if he believes her. Yang Kai responds with indifferent acceptance. It doesn't concern him either way. Feeling embarrassed and rejected, Hu Meyer apologizes and leaves, declaring that she won't bother him anymore. Yang Kai watches her go, mentally relieved to be rid of the walking complication she had become. That evening, back at Kunlong Ravine, Yang Kai resumes his training. He reflects on the battle and notes that the two attacks used to defeat Cheng Xiaofeng and Nu Tao consumed 1 drop of liquid yang each. His energy nexus is now completely depleted. He realizes it's time to return to cultivation to replenish his strength. Taking out a red, dazzling sunstone, he ponders on his past sessions. He had previously formed 1 drop of liquid yang from normal training and 2 more from absorbing the stone's energy. But strangely, 1 drop had vanished. He finally figures it out. There's a subtle, rhythmic pulsing coming from within the seed he carries, like a heartbeat. It's alive. The missing drop of liquid yang wasn't lost, it was absorbed by the seed. That explains why the ordinary seed has undergone such a transformation. Frustrated, Yang Kai lets out a cry. It takes significant time and effort to produce even a single drop of liquid yang, and now 1 is gone. But his irritation fades as an idea strikes him. What would this seed become if he planted it in this transformed state? Seizing the moment, he buries the red seed into the soil near Kunlong Ravine. The environment is rich in yang qi, making it ideal. He tells himself that all that remains is patience. Returning to his meditation, he starts cultivating once more. By the next day, Yang Kai already senses an increase in his absorption rate. After only 1 night, his meridians are full again with yang qi. He estimates that in 2 or 3 more days, another drop of liquid yang will form. Then something unexpected catches his attention. He turns back and sees a plant. To his astonishment, the seed he planted has already grown into a sapling, nearly a ki tall. The rapid growth stuns him. It must be due to the liquid yang drop it absorbed. From what he understands, liquid yang has many uses, not just in combat but also in nurturing life. Yang Kai contemplates whether the plant will flower and bear fruit in just a few more days if this growth continues. If that's the case, this might be the smartest decision he has made so far. The ravine's isolated nature provides a perfect hiding place. He doesn't need to worry about others discovering this valuable plant. Satisfied, he heads home. Upon returning to his quarters, Yang Kai immediately notices something odd. His broom is missing. Just then, a disciple, junior brother Zheng, greets him and explains the situation. He took the broom to sweep on Yang Kai's behalf. From now on, Yang Kai won't need to worry about menial chores like cleaning. Several disciples have agreed to take turns doing the work so he can focus entirely on his cultivation. Zheng insists that this is their way of repaying Yang Kai for standing up against Cheng Xiaofeng and his gang. Although Yang Kai initially hesitates, Zheng gently insists if Yang Kai still considers them his juniors, he should accept their help. Finally relenting, Yang Kai agrees and invites Zheng in for a drink, but Zheng declines, mentioning that young Master Su has issued strict training orders. Anyone who slacks off now is no longer considered a true brother. He hurries away, urging Yang Kai to work hard too. Yang Kai watches him go and feels the burden lift from his shoulders. With the sweeping responsibility off his plate, he now has more time than ever to cultivate. Just then, he encounters Li Yuntian. With a sudden surge of determination, Yang Kai declares that he's ready to learn under his guidance. Startled and nervous, Li Yuntian wonders why he's being challenged by senior brother Yang when so many others are available. And with that, a new round of sparring and growth begins. Li Yuntian sprawled on the ground, completely exhausted, admitting his defeat. Yang Kai stands over him, acknowledging that the match was well fought. Sister Xia, who has been quietly observing from the sidelines, reflects with satisfaction. She recalls how Yang Kai, who once lost 47 times consecutively, has now grown significantly stronger. Watching his development firsthand over the past 2 years fills her with an unexpected sense of accomplishment, even if she played no direct role in it. Just witnessing his progress has been enough to bring her a quiet joy. Later that evening, Yang Kai finds himself deep in meditation within the secluded Kunlong Ravine. As he cultivates, he considers the recent progress of the 3 yang fruit sapling he planted 5 days earlier. Now grown to the height of 1 zhang, the sapling continues to change every day. Its 3 blooming flowers appear ready to bear fruit soon. And once that happens, he knows he'll be able to reap the rewards. His own cultivation has also made solid strides. After days of uninterrupted training, one drop of liquid yang qi has formed in his energy nexus, and his mastery of the true yang mnemonic has advanced noticeably. Freed from his daily sweeping duties, tasks now assigned to other disciples, Yang Kai has enjoyed extra time to focus purely on training. He's also kept an eye on Fengyu Pavilion, watching for any suspicious activity. So far, nothing unusual has happened, and he begins to trust that Hu Meier did not betray him after all. That woman, despite their complicated interaction, might just be reliable. Now, the 8th day of the month has arrived. This means he can finally check his total contribution points. He reflects on how, just a month ago on this same date, he was only in the 3rd phase of the tempered body realm. Since then, he's leaped to the 8th phase. This rate of growth is practically unheard of. Even those born prodigies with access to precious medicinal pills and rare elixirs couldn't hope to achieve what he has managed in the same span of time. His cultivation speed is, by all standards, extraordinary. Later, inside the contribution hall, Yang Kai meets with manager Meng. Upon seeing him, Meng is immediately struck by how much Yang Kai's power has increased in just a short time. He wonders what kind of future this young man might have. Though he has seen many promising youths rise only to vanish into mediocrity, something about Yang Kai feels different. He quietly hopes this one doesn't become another forgotten name. Meng greets Yang Kai, asking if he has come to exchange points for items. Yang Kai confirms, noting that he has 59 contribution points available this month. Meng checks and verifies the number. Yang Kai requests a specific combination: desolate wilted grass and 33-leaf soul remnant flowers. Meng instructs him to wait and heads off to retrieve the items. When Meng returns, he holds out a pouch, but pauses before handing it over. He curiously asks what kind of fruit Yang Kai had consumed during his last trip to Haifeng Mountains. Yang Kai responds that he doesn't know the name, only that it was red and he ate it because he was hungry. Meng repeats those words to himself, seeming intrigued by the vague description. Then, brushing it off, he finally hands the pouch over. Before Yang Kai can leave, Meng questions him once more. Why not save up points to exchange for the marrow cleansing pill? Yang Kai explains that relying solely on pills to grow stronger is a mistake. He now understands that true strength is earned through dedication and hard work. In the past, he was too short-sighted, placing his hope in shortcuts. Now, he sees the bigger picture. Meng, clearly impressed, praises Yang Kai's insight and determination. He offers him a final piece of advice: keep working hard and don't let the fruits of his cultivation efforts go to waste. Yang Kai thanks him respectfully and takes his leave. Returning to Kunlong Ravine, Yang Kai begins preparing medicinal plants using a cauldron. But something feels different this time. As he activates the true Yang mnemonic, a strange pressure emerges from the sensor he recently obtained. He suddenly realizes the Yang Qi within his meridians is no longer flowing as freely. Its movement has slowed drastically, almost as if it's sealed. This revelation surprises him. Initially, he believed the sensor wouldn't interfere with Qi circulation. Now, he sees how wrong he was. The scent it emits is powerful. It dulls the flow of true Yang Qi and suppresses his cultivation speed. Yet, rather than hastily storing the sensor away, he decides to observe and understand its effects more deeply. He reflects that under its influence, his physical body has grown stronger with each passing day. However, his improvement in the true Yang mnemonic technique has slowed significantly. Even after 2 to 3 days of cultivation, the amount of Yang Qi within him has barely increased. At first glance, the sensor seems like nothing more than an obstacle, a hindrance. But just as he's about to discard it, something clicks. Yang Kai releases a burst of energy and senses a subtle shift. The true Yang Qi now flows just a bit faster than it did 2 days ago. A spark of realization lights up in his mind. The sensor doesn't just obstruct, it trains. It's like carrying a 3,000 Jin stone on your back every day. When that weight is suddenly lifted, you'll move with extraordinary speed and ease. In short-term use, the sensor appears to hold back his training, but in the long run, the resistance it creates can significantly enhance his internal control and strength. What he thought was a drawback may actually be an immense advantage. It's a kind of deliberate handicap that builds resilience. This tool, once seen as a burden, is now recognized as a worthwhile investment in his cultivation journey. After that, Yang Kai observes with amazement that, in just 10 days, a single drop of liquid yang has nurtured a spiritual fruit of the lower earthly level into existence. He picks one of the fruits from the tree and inspects it with satisfaction. It looks perfectly ripe. Without hesitation, he eats one and returns to his cultivation. As he activates the true yang mnemonics, he immediately feels a blazing heat erupt in his abdomen. The sensation is fiery, almost painful, yet exhilarating at the same time. His entire belly feels as if it's burning, but this intense warmth brings with it a euphoric sense of improvement. What surprises him even more is that 3 drops of liquid yang form within his energy nexus during this session. Combined with the results of his training over the last 10 days, his energy nexus now holds a total of 4 drops. Realizing this, Yang Kai begins consuming the remaining spiritual fruits, determined to push for a breakthrough. As more fruits enter his system, the burning power flows through his meridians like molten fire. The chi from the Kunlong Ravine, rich in yang energy, seeps into his body through his skin, merging with the internal force already circulating inside him. Drawing a deep breath, Yang Kai feels the shift as he reaches the 9th phase of the tempered body realm. Although the breakthrough itself is complete, the sensation and insight he receives haven't vanished. The 10 drops of liquid yang swirl powerfully within his energy nexus before they begin to spread throughout his entire body. That yang qi saturates his internal organs, muscle fibers, and meridians, forging them anew with the power of the blazing sun. All impurities are purged as his physical structure is refined from the inside out. Compared to his previous state, this breakthrough is monumental. It strengthens both his body and his understanding of martial cultivation. However, there's a trade-off. All 10 drops of liquid yang are fully consumed in this process, leaving his nexus empty once again. The insight he briefly touched remains vague and elusive, slipping from his grasp before he can comprehend it fully. The realization sets in: if he wants more liquid yang, he'll need young elemental treasures to absorb from. But right now, he has a more pressing problem. He's broke. Frustrated, Yang Kai glances at the 3 yang fruit tree beside him. An idea sparks in his mind. Even if he can't afford to buy rare treasures, maybe he can obtain seeds instead. With the wondrous effect of the liquid yang, even ordinary seeds can be transformed into valuable spiritual plants under the right conditions. But there's a catch. Seeds of spiritual herbs and trees are rare and difficult to obtain. He recalls wandering through the Haifeng marketplace for half a day previously, only to find no one selling them. It makes sense. Spiritual seeds require precise environments, attentive care, and years of patience before bearing results. Most cultivators don't have the time or inclination for that when they could be spending those years advancing their martial strength. Still determined, Yang Kai decides to return to Haifeng Marketplace once again. He moves through the rows of stalls, observing item after item, but his suspicion is confirmed. No one is selling seeds. He considers visiting the stalls run by Blood War Gang members, but ultimately decides to check elsewhere first. Then, he hears a familiar voice. Li Yuntian spots him and calls out from one of the stalls, excitedly waving him over. Yang Kai approaches and asks what he's doing there. Li Yuntian explains that he has recently experienced a breakthrough. On Sumu's advice, he's taking a short break to solidify his understanding of his new realm. Since some of his companions needed resources for their own cultivation, he came to the marketplace to see what he could gather and maybe help out. Yang Kai nods, understanding his intent. Li Yuntian then offers to let Yang Kai browse and take whatever he needs from his stall. Yang Kai inquires if he has any seeds for yang elemental medicinal herbs. Unfortunately, Li Yuntian informs him that he has none, and that seeds in general are rare in this market. Yang Kai explains that he's merely testing his luck, hoping to stumble upon something useful. That gives Li Yuntian an idea. He offers to put up a sign to collect seeds on Yang Kai's behalf. Since he'll be present at the market for the next couple of days, he might be able to attract someone willing to sell. Yang Kai agrees, expressing his gratitude. As they talk further, Yang Kai learns that Sumu and the others were deeply humbled after recent events. Following Su Yan's strict warnings, Sumu has finally started taking his training seriously. In fact, he's advanced into the Qi refining realm after dedicated day and night cultivation, a significant leap for someone who previously slacked off. After parting ways with Li Yuntian, Yang Kai walks over to a stall where he previously purchased dazzling sunstones. The vendor recognizes him immediately immediately and greets him politely. Yang Kai asks about the seed of the 3-yang fruit, whether he might have another one available. The vendor shakes his head, explaining that he only ever had one, and it was already gifted to Yang Kai during their last transaction. As Yang Kai turns to leave, the vendor suddenly calls him back. Curious, Yang Kai pauses. The vendor admits that, while he personally obtained only one seed, there are in fact more seeds of the 3-yang fruit in existence. Though he doesn't have them, he confirms they aren't unique and more may surface under the right circumstances. With this new information, Yang Kai finds a sliver of hope. The search continues, and his journey to strengthen both his cultivation and his resourcefulness marches forward. Yang Kai, determined to track down the 3-yang fruit tree seeds, questions the vendor about the whereabouts of the remaining seeds. The vendor explains that they've already been taken by others and casually mentions that if Yang Kai wants them, he'll have to seek them out himself. Intrigued, Yang Kai presses further, asking where exactly these people are now. The vendor explains that they're all currently working deep in the mines, busy extracting dazzling sunstones and other rare minerals. Even gang members themselves aren't allowed in freely, and for an outsider like Yang Kai, entry would be nearly impossible. Wanting to avoid wasting precious time, Yang Kai questions how long it will take for the miners to return. The vendor informs him that it could be a month or even longer before they emerge. Yang Kai instantly realizes that waiting that long defeats his purpose. He then asks if there's any possible way the vendor could help get him inside. He clarifies that he doesn't intend to cause trouble, he simply wants to find those individuals and purchase the seeds. Unfortunately, the vendor admits his hands are tied. He's just a low-ranking member of the gang with no real influence. But then, almost as an afterthought, he hints that there might be someone who can help. Hearing this, Yang Kai lights up with anticipation and urges him to elaborate. The vendor reveals that the one person with the authority to grant entry to the mines is none other than the young mistress of the Blood War Gang. Under her command, no one would dare obstruct his path. However, Yang Kai grows hesitant. He and the young mistress are merely acquaintances at best, and their last interaction didn't end well. Still, the vendor assures him it's a rare stroke of luck. The young mistress happens to be in the market district today and is currently resting inside a nearby building. Faced with no other options, Yang Kai resigns himself to approaching her despite the awkwardness. He reminds himself that he didn't do anything wrong the last time they met, so there's no reason to feel guilty. Bracing himself, he steps up to the building and knocks on the door, only to be met with silence. Internally, he thinks the voice he hears does sound like Hu Mayer, but something feels off. He introduces himself and requests to speak with her. Inside the building, Hu Mayer's elder sister listens closely and remarks that this must be the infamous Yang Kai her little sister has mentioned. Hu Mayer, confused and slightly flustered, wonders aloud why Yang Kai would come to see her now. Her sister, however, speculates with a teasing tone that perhaps Yang Kai isn't as noble as he pretends to be. Some men, she claims, act morally superior just to lure women in, and once they win both the heart and the body, they destroy them. Hu Mayer immediately defends Yang Kai, insisting he isn't that kind of man. Her elder sister, unconvinced, questions his motives. Why would he show up out of nowhere if he truly had no lingering interest? Clearly, he knows her sister can't forget him and has come to finish what he started. Hu Mayer grows frustrated with her sister's cynical take. Despite that, even she begins to wonder, what could Yang Kai possibly want from her? Her sister ominously warns that trusting too easily can lead to pain, but Hu Mayer shakes it off, saying she's done with the conversation. Maybe Yang Kai has an urgent matter, and it's better to at least hear him out. Before she can go to him, her elder sister stops her and proposes a wager. They'll test Yang Kai's intentions. If he truly is as respectful as Hu Mayer claims, then he'll act appropriately in her presence. But if he isn't, then Hu Mayer must not interfere when her elder sister deals with him mercilessly. Hu Mayer grows concerned, asking what her sister plans to do, but before she can react, her elder sister activates a powerful spell. Instantly, Hu Mayer is frozen in place, her voice silenced, her body rooted within the spell's boundary. She realizes in horror that she can no longer be heard or seen. Her sister clearly intends for her to watch everything unfold without interfering. Meanwhile, outside, Yang Kai grows discouraged as no one answers the door. He assumes that he must have offended her too deeply in their last encounter and decides to leave. But just then, he hears a calm voice from within, inviting him to enter. He walks in respectfully, only to find himself greeted by Hu Mayer, or so he initially assumes. But something feels off. She appears far more radiant than before, her beauty almost overpowering. Her demeanor is strikingly confident, bordering on seductive. Unlike most women who would blush under Yang Kai's gaze, she remains poised, hiding behind a fan, her expression unreadable. Yang Kai feels a subtle mockery behind her smile. This woman is clearly not ordinary. His instincts scream that this is not the same Hu Meyer he once met. Still, he tries to stay composed, though his thoughts whirl with confusion. How could she have changed so drastically in just half a month? Across from him, the elder sister silently evaluates Yang Kai. She notes how boldly he looks her in the eye, completely unflinching. Most men would avert their gaze or stammer in her presence, but this one, he holds steady. To her, that boldness feels almost shameless. Thus begins a complex game of intentions, deceptions, and silent challenges, as both Yang Kai and Hu Meyer's mysterious sister attempt to decipher one another's motives beneath the surface of polite words and measured glances. As the conversation continues, the elder sister quietly observes Yang Kai's eyes. She notes that they're clear, steady, and unclouded. There's no trace of lust or enchantment in them. Despite her alluring presence and playful demeanor, it's evident he isn't enthralled. Yang Kai, meanwhile, compliments her appearance, remarking on how much more captivating she has become in just a short span of days. In response, the elder sister teases him, surprised he knows how to flatter women. He calmly replies that he's simply stating the truth. Yang Kai begins to explain the reason for his visit, but before he can finish, the elder sister gracefully pours him a cup of tea, inviting him to sit and rest first. She points out the summer heat and encourages him to soothe his throat before discussing business. Yang Kai agrees and takes the offered drink. She then asks if the tea suits his palate. Yang Kai examines it and praises the leaves, their uniform flatness, verdant green hue, and rich aroma. He identifies them as high-quality leaves, to which the elder sister, pleasantly surprised, inquires about his tea knowledge. He admits he knows a bit, but doesn't claim to be an expert. Charmed by the exchange, she lightly asks how she compares to the tea. With composed honesty, Yang Kai replies that while the tea is excellent, she herself is far superior. This makes the elder sister laugh softly, finding his wit unexpectedly amusing. From a distance, Hu Meyer watches the two of them closely. Concerned, she mutters to herself that this is unfair. Her elder sister is too powerful. With her cultivation, it's child's play to influence someone at the tempered body realm. Hu Meyer tries to remain hopeful, thinking that as long as nothing underhanded happens, Yang Kai wouldn't embarrass himself. But if her sister schemes, things might spiral out of her control. Meanwhile, the elder sister stands up and informs Yang Kai that she's going to retrieve something. He nods in acknowledgement, though an uneasy feeling begins to settle in his chest. Something feels subtly off, but he can't quite pinpoint what it is. She moves toward the bed and begins searching under and around it, murmuring about forgetting where she last placed something. As she bends down, Yang Kai can't help but feel drawn to her. Her beauty, grace, and confidence are undeniably captivating. Suddenly, she shrieks and collapses onto him, pretending to be startled. Startled himself, Yang Kai instinctively steadies her and asks what happened. She feigns panic, claiming there was a bug. Yang Kai quickly asks where it went, and she vaguely points, keeping up the act. He finds the situation odd, a seasoned martial artist frightened by a bug. Still, he plays along, calmly stating he's dealt with it. She tries to argue there could be more, subtly testing him, but he reassures her that there's nothing to worry about. Secretly, she marvels at how composed he remains. Despite her feigned fall and their close physical contact, he doesn't take advantage of her at all. In fact, he doesn't even show any inappropriate reaction. Surprised by his restraint, she stands and thanks him softly. Noticing something unusual, Yang Kai then asks about her foot. She explains she twisted it during the fall. He kneels down and examines it, quickly identifying inflammation. With steady hands, he pulls out a precious bottle of anti-inflammatory cream and begins applying it carefully. As his hands gently massage her foot, the elder sister reflects on the situation. For years, she has never let a man touch her, not even the slightest graze. Now, because of a playful bet with her younger sister, she not only let him touch her, but even embraced him. What's more surprising is how tender and respectful he is. His touch is careful, not lustful, and his eyes never wander. Her heart races with conflicting thoughts. She stares at him, watching his expression, wondering what kind of man he truly is. Then, without warning, she tilts her head and, half serious, half playful, asks if he wants to do something more. Thus, the tension builds. A battle of minds, hidden intentions, and unspoken desires hangs in the air. But in Yang Kai's calm gaze, there's still no sign of temptation, only composed clarity and respect. The elder sister blushes, quietly wondering if Yang Kai will accept her subtle invitation. She's curious, what kind of response will this young man give? But instead of reacting with desire or confusion, Yang Kai gently speaks up. He tells her that the anticoagulant cream he used on her is one of his most treasured belongings. Although not rare or expensive, it holds deep sentimental value. It's a memento of the rare kindness and warmth he has received throughout his lonely years. Perplexed, she questions what he truly means. Yang Kai clarifies his point. He has already given her something of great personal value to aid her injury, and now he hopes she won't make an issue out of what happened earlier. He suggests putting an end to what he calls a travesty, cutting off the emotional tension with respectful firmness. Still feigning innocence, the elder sister pushes further, asking what exactly he's implying. Yang Kai challenges her, stating she's refusing to acknowledge something. As she continues to pretend to be confused, he finally exposes her deception. He declares that she is not Hu Meyer, but her twin sister. The elder sister is caught off guard and internally admits he had been testing her all along. She presses him. How did he figure it out? Yang Kai explains that it all started the moment he drank the tea. He had noticed a subtle floral scent lingering on the cup, along with a faint lip print. That cup must have been used moments earlier by none other than Hu Meyer herself. Skeptical, the elder sister pushes back. Could he really identify her identity based on a single cup? Yang Kai nods but adds there were multiple factors. The next clue was her temperament. While Hu Meyer's charm is innocent and youthful, hers is polished, sophisticated to a fault. He even compliments her on the difference. She's both flattered and amused, prompting him to continue. Yang Kai points out another subtle difference, their natural body sense. Both are faintly sweet, but Hu Meyer's is lighter and more playful, while hers is refined, with a trace of mature elegance. That's another giveaway. Frustrated, she calls him a brat, but he doesn't stop. He brings up the injury on her ankle. Though it looked like an accident, it was clearly self-inflicted using internal martial arts techniques. That, he says, is the biggest flaw in her act. As a martial artist, Hu Meyer wouldn't injure herself over a simple fall. She had underestimated his perception. Amused and slightly impressed, the elder sister challenges whether he's uncovered even more. Yang Kai hesitates. She insists. He warns that what he's about to say might make her angry. She promises not to be mad or hit him. Reluctantly, he shares his last observation. While not a mistake per se, he says there's a physical difference between her and Hu Meyer, her buttocks. One side, he claims, is slightly larger than the other, unlike Hu Meyer's, which are more balanced. The elder sister is instantly offended. Yang Kai quickly tries to calm the situation, saying the difference is subtle, barely noticeable unless one looks closely. She accuses him of having clearly examined her body. Yang Kai admits he did glance. A few times, but with everything he noticed, the scent, demeanor, injury, and now this, he's completely certain she is not Hu Meyer. Internally, she is both furious and amazed. In just 5 short minutes, this young man has detected multiple inconsistencies and exposed her ruse flawlessly. Though not powerful, his insight is frighteningly sharp. Now that the charade is over, she shifts to retaliation. She gives him 2 choices. First, he can cut off the hand that touched her and blind the eyes that dared observe her body. Then, she might forgive his offense. Yang Kai calmly asks for the second option. She offers him a place in the Blood War gang. If he abandons Lingxiao sect, her father will appoint him a team leader. Yang Kai inquires if there's a third option. She coldly confirms there is none. He declines both. She glares and threatens that he leaves her no choice. But Yang Kai confidently reminds her that they're not in Blood War gang territory. If she initiates a fight, the Lingxiao sect's patrols will be alerted immediately. She would be in serious trouble. She sneers, asserting that she could eliminate a trial disciple without consequence. Yang Kai calls her bluff. If she truly intended to kill him, she wouldn't have spent this much time talking. He again refers to the anticoagulant cream and politely asks her to let the matter go. Mocking him, she asks if he really thinks a bottle of cream can make up for his offense. Yang Kai calmly responds, whatever happened was her own doing. She scolds him again, but then notices Hu Meyer standing nearby, silently watching. Taking a long breath, the elder sister finally lets the matter drop. She decides not to pursue the issue any further. Yang Kai bows his head slightly, expressing his thanks. He then asks her to clarify clarify which of his observations was wrong. She acknowledges all of them were accurate, except for one. With a wave of her hand, she breaks the powerful illusion spell that had kept Hu Meier concealed. Yang Kai is stunned. To manipulate people silently like that requires a level of cultivation found only in the true element realm and beyond. She is far more powerful than she appeared. Hu Meier quickly steps in, pleading on Yang Kai's behalf. Her sister assures her she doesn't hold him responsible. However, she reveals one final correction. She and Hu Meier are not twins. She's actually several years older. Yang Kai blinks in surprise. In this vast world, truly all kinds of mysteries and oddities exist. He regains his focus as Hu Meier asks why he came to find her. Yang Kai explains his goal, to find seeds of the 3 Yang fruit tree. Hu Meier admits she doesn't have any on her but offers to escort him to the mines where they might find some. Yang Kai accepts and politely states that he'll be relying on her guidance. As the two prepare to leave, Hu Meier bids farewell to her older sister. Left alone, the elder sister frowns in irritation. She mentally repeats his final remark about her being uneven. She scoffs internally. How is one side bigger than the other? Both sides are clearly the same size. That brat, making such irresponsible and ridiculous comments, utterly detestable.